Recording.
Yes, well,
Start.
good evening, everyone. Today is April 4th, and this is the Battery Park City Committee of Community Board One. And I welcome everybody here and people who are online. As you know, my name is Justine Kucha, my co-chair is Jeff Galloway, and my committee. And Nick Bordone is here as usual, representing the Battery Park City Authority. We will go by Robert's rules as we go through this to have this discussion. Maybe we can pull up the agenda just so people can see what's going on. We have it. No? We can't
Here's
see it.
copy.
The agenda is Wagner Park Pavilion Commercial Space Design Recommendations. And we're going to try to pull it together to make a resolution. If we could do that today. And that'll be our first topic. With that said, if we could pull up the slide presentation, let's just jump right into it. And there's, I'm gonna look at both. So bottom line is, Jeff, myself, Allison, Simcoe, some other folks, we've taken some information from people. We also met with the Battery Park City Authority to have a discussion about what the pavilion is for the commercial space and what they're looking to do, with a clear understanding that this is only the commercial space, which is kind of like half of the building. And the other half will be the public space that we'll talk about at a different time because we're not there yet, programming of it and whatever else. But we wanted to get the commercial space because the authority is looking to put out an RFP shortly. And they, I think, very kindly waited until at least we get this out in this discussion today before they release it. But they make sure that they hear from us before they release the RFP. I will say that, from our meeting with them, we're basically on the same page about what they were thinking we wanted and what we seem to have wanted. But that said, it was a very small group of people that met with
We
them.
also had a committee meeting.
And we did have a committee meeting too, where we discussed it. So we're branching this out now for more suggestions. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Housekeeping item, there's usually two.
You're gonna have to go by the door
codes
and get it. I don't know what a QR code
To,
is.
to check
To log
ourselves
in.
in.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yes,
It's at the door right now. Sorry.
Thank you, no, okay.
But, so if you look at the next slide, select the commercial space, you know that. All right, so this is not gonna read it to you, but we know Wagner Park, this is a picture of the pavilion, right? And basically, half is commercial and half is not, with a piece of it being given over, which I think, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the lower level is gonna be given over for storage for the Battery Park City Authority Parks folks.
Underneath.
It's gonna be underneath, so we're
Okay.
not really messing with anything that you see here as, any of the space that we're talking about. And we also know what was there before in the prior pavilion, which was a restaurant, public restrooms. They did have a storage area there, and we also had a beautiful rooftop access with beautiful, well, not handicap accessible, but beautiful steps to go up to the top of the building. Now we will have rooftop access as well as space for commercial. And what the authority did do is they did help me with it, request.
Expressions of interest.
For expressions of interest, yeah, whatever, yes, RFEI. And they got back a response, right? And I think we can maybe go to the next slide, right? They got back a response from one entity, which they did share with us in more detail than what I'm sharing with you here. But it's private because it was private and confidential. But at the end of the day, what they presented was the idea of having some sort of a restaurant and food service. And they did seem to think that it was possible to do and address what the community was saying, which was kind of a restaurant that was gonna be nice, you know, kind of, we had Gino at Wagner Park there before, so a restaurant that's nice, but also something that could be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with reasonable price points, where Gino at Wagner Park might not have been reasonable. It was expensive, yet it was good food. So it might be something along those lines, but at least leaving it open to people and then having, the space possibly be fungible. So, it's not like we're gonna have places that are gonna close down, but you have it open for breakfast and then lunch and then a sit-down dinner, and maybe you'll have a bar area. They also had some discussion, we can go to the next slide. Which this kind of gives you an idea. They were looking to have the restaurant on the first floor with the kitchen on the lower level. underneath, like, so you're seeing on the bottom of that slide. It's not easy to see. But they were looking at that as an idea with the community space on the other side. And we're not gonna talk about any of the details there because it's not real. They have their kitchen in the basement, so that would be possible. The rooftop, we've made it really clear we want open for community space, but that doesn't mean we can't have some sort of seating up there or kind of bring in some sort of temporary kiosky kind of food, whether it's part of the restaurant or not. But this is what I'm looking for input from you all to tell me. What is it that's gonna be? And I think something else in the resolution is which they've agreed to anyhow, but public bathrooms must be accessible, both, accessible, bless you, and open every time, all the time the pavilion and the park is open. So, I mean, not 24/7, if the park's not open 24/7, but, while the park is open, the bathroom should be open.
On what level?
Um,
Ground level?
It should be the first.
the first,
Yeah,
right?
it should be
Yeah.
first.
Yes.
And those are public bathrooms, they're not related to the, I mean, particularly
Like we
related
had
to the
before.
restaurant. I mean, maybe the restaurant will decide to build.
Yeah, the restaurant will have one, but there will be publicly accessible.
I'm speaking to the public
Like a
restaurant.
Teardrop Park or.
Oh, wait, is there something that closes the park?
No. Doesn't
No.
it ever
The park's
close?
not even closed.
Open.
Open generally, but the same thing with, let's say, like New York City parks, technically it's dawn to dusk,
If you're,
two AM.
where's, what's City Winery?
You can get a summons if you're in there.
Pier 25 or something like that?
Say again?
City Winery,
Yes.
Pier 25, I think it is, whichever one is where the new whale thing is, there's a bathroom there. Are they open 24 hours?
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
I mean, I've been there at 10 o'clock at night.
And they're open, City Winery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it-
City Winery, the bathrooms that are near the parks.
But that's-
Which is Pier 40? No, Pier 26, Pier 26 is City Winery. Oh, City Winery is.
Where the golf course is, putt
Yeah,
putt golf.
okay.
But that's not a city park, right?
Hmm?
Isn't that not a city park? Isn't
It's
that
not.
private? Because it's,
It's Hudson
It's
River.
private?
State.
It's Buckingham
State.
Park, so, but
New York
it's
State.
State
New
too,
York
so,
State.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
I know, Sarah, you've raised this question before.
Mm.
Go
if
ahead.
they came in for a liquor license, it's very unlikely they were given it without a bathroom that was open the same hours.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It's not be open the same hours they're open. Well, at the restaurant is
At the
open.
restaurant.
Yeah.
It's fine, right, but the restaurant is open.
But this is a separate, facility. It's a separate building.
Yeah.
No.
It's got the restrooms on one side,
But it
and then on the
doesn't
other side of it, it's got some storage or some,
Is our building, you mean?
What are you
We're talking about
talking
your
building?
apartment?
no, the one that he's talking
Hudson,
about,
Hudson River.
No, but
near the,
that's
City
not
Trail,
usual.
near the
Yeah.
playground.
Mhm.
That's the norm.
That may be the norm, but if you look at Pier 15, when they added more seats than they had, they could not add bathroom facilities. They got the license from CB1 permission to go and use the space that the Parks Department runs. That's about 50, 100 feet down
Okay.
the greenway from them. So they don't necessarily have to do this, and that was shocking to me that CB1 agreed to.
That is interesting, because no, I mean, I would like to be sure that we have, I mean, again, worrying about the time the bathroom's opened at this moment is probably premature.
Yeah.
For this particular thing, because it's not even built yet, but these are things.
That's nothing to do with the commercial. We're looking for the
Commercial tenant, yeah, yeah.
Right, but it's
Yes.
been as long, at least as a commercial
Yes,
tenant.
exactly. Yes, exactly. And it's separate, but these are things that I think we just wanna, I guess part of what I'm doing is preserving our, our asks.
Can you tell me how different this proposed restaurant space is from what the Gugino space was? Is it much larger? Is it the same location?
Certainly larger. Yeah, you could bring up,
So maybe we wanna go, because that's part of the city.
presentation. That is actually from the presentation we made in October.
It is. I kind of cut and pasted.
There is a
This might be something, but I don't think,
chart somewhere, I don't recall. It is a larger space, but that's predominantly driven by the fact that the space that Gugino's was in was not originally intended to be what it became, which was a restaurant.
Yeah, it was an awkward
It's
space.
kind of shoehorned in
Yeah,
there. So
yeah.
this is, not
Designed.
oversized, but it's designed with the intention of being a place that can provide a food type service.
so,
Will this
And you
cut
can see the
into,
square footage is
yeah,
there.
the second part of the question is, will this cut into the number of bathrooms? Because one of the things that was wonderful that
Yeah,
Whitehair
no.
Park was that there were enough bathrooms.
It shouldn't. The bathrooms that are there are going to be not as what's the word, maybe palatial. The old ones in Wagon Park were really quite big, probably broad than they needed to be. They were.
I like that, yeah.
But there will be restrooms that will not, the public
Be a
restrooms,
little
will be
more
public restrooms,
practical.
whether or not you're using the restaurant. And whether you're in the restaurant.
And,
it's
and
separate.
so we said at least the same number of stalls, which were 4.
I believe that.
I mean, I don't know. You have more than 4?
I was wondering there are more than 4
Yeah,
in now.
so
Go
you,
back and check. I believe the conversations were the same number of fixtures, just not as much space.
Space inside, that makes sense.
Is this,
Into the.
I mean, if that's for real, there's almost 8, it looks like,
If that's the bathroom.
in the
Which I
white
think it
space.
looks like it might be.
Yeah,
So
there's
because
6.
bathroom facilities,
I
I
know
think,
that's
well,
part of
if the
The men's and the
restaurants.
women's, they're separate, correct?
If,
Oh.
just to finish my
Yes,
question, if the size of the restaurant is cutting into the number of bathroom facilities, I would want to be aware of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
We need to have at least same number of stalls that we had before
Right, because a large amount of people from all over.
come in,
Come in.
and we're pulling in a lot of people.
So plus to add a larger
Yeah.
sized restaurant.
And every time there's an event on the lawn, you're gonna have.
Yeah.
to do
That's
this.
us coming in and
So,
staffing down.
right, so the question is, can you confirm it will be the same amount of
Well,
stalls?
we should put that, okay, so additional
Many were there before.
this is, I'm gonna put down as a,
Recall.
There may have been like 10, 12.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you.
if you look at the drawing,
I can verify.
is that an accurate drawing?
Yeah, so if you're gonna go from like 12 to
Oh, it's
4,
not,
that's
okay.
gonna be, just to finish this, if
It's
because
not.
the restaurant's taking more space, if you're gonna go from, say there were 12, if you're going down to 8, that's problematic.
Yeah, bathroom stalls, same number.
I will confirm. I want to say yes, but I don't want to speak out of school. My recollection from the many conversations we had was it was the same number of fixtures, same number of stalls, just in smaller space.
Because it was a lot of open space in there.
But I,
It's nice, because people with strollers and
I will
people,
confirm. I believe it's the same number.
It was really too large.
It was cool, yeah, but I mean, as long as it's ADA accessible, which it will be, right? I mean,
Yeah, university exists, which is,
changing area and
the whole thing, but yeah, they do, I think they do that, but bathrooms, same number of stalls as before.
I can confirm that.
Gender neutral.
I can confirm that.
Oh, would there
You
be?
can tell I'm on the bathroom working group.
Yes, that's.
Conversation.
Because many people, and that's why even the borough president's gone to having a gender neutral.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Total or have men, women, gender neutral?
No, they're gender neutral, so no men, no women.
that would be a role.
Let me answer the
Or-
question.
Yeah.
In
Or
most
a door.
stores, there's a men's room, a woman's room, and a gender neutral room. Some places have gone around it and just have some individual stalls. It used to be like a handicapped room or a family room. They use that as their gender neutral. So there are lots of ways of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and this is stuff that is important, Nick, because it is, right? But we can put this in our resolution to make it clear that, and I think that that's a really kind of good thing to throw out there, gender neutral. But people may fuss if there's only gender neutral.
Not necessarily if they're individual.
I mean,
Right.
I mean, if they're individual, nobody cares what they are. And you can have just one or two of those and they can be the family room, they can be the stable room. they can be
The space, it's currently designed. The public space, the women's room has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
Men's have 1, 2, 3.
And how many changing tables?
Oh, the men's is on the other side.
Yeah.
Usually.
what
it's
is it
just one
currently
in each.
designed, you mean now, or what we're talking?
know what we're talking about. So Nick, this is from your website.
That's the presentation.
Yeah,
That's the design.
RFP and I, which included some drawings from the design.
Okay, so we wanted to make sure that it's.
That's what's
comparable
showing here.
with this thing.
That's what you're looking at now.
Changing tables in every sort of bathroom.
Right, you should have that, changing tables, right?
This is important, but it's kind of off topic. We're talking about the commercial space.
Space, yeah, so what
I
do we
mean, the
do?
resolution for the commercial space and everything we're talking about is about the
The,
non-commercial.
yeah, the public space, right. Well, except it's being built in.
Restaurant.
Yeah.
My
Guests may use it.
Will the restaurant cut into the bathroom? So. that-
And it's seemingly not if we're keeping it, but that's the thing to
Correct.
make sure that we don't.
Thank you.
And, so maybe that's the way to write them in the resolution, whereas we don't want the restaurant to cut into the bathroom, public bathroom space, and then we have this other discussion.
Honestly, don't have something.
Yes, I mean, okay, what else, okay, so now let's go to the next thing. the programming concepts, these were things that, I think I just said it right now, but these were things that we paid attention to and I'd like to put in as whereases, and they are included in the RFEI. I think these are all good points. Is there any, color that you want added to it, which I'm gonna say, if you looked at what I wrote next, I think we have it. Professor Magias, back up. Yes,
So my question is, will they be doing catering and events?
We don't know.
we don't know, depends, it depends.
So where have we, is that coming up in the slides? Because I think that's important to weigh in.
That, no.
Maybe we
I
should
mean-
just back up a
Yeah.
little bit. What we're talking about here is an RFP of whoever will be willing and able to a food service in that space. And how they, I mean, if we have something where we want them to do something, we should include that in our ask for the RFP. So if we want them to cater, we should say that. If we don't want them to cater, we should say
Or
that.
have the ability to be able to
Yeah.
cater in the event of.
And that's not part of the RFP as it exists now.
Well, I haven't.
No, so the RFP hasn't been issued. This is.
I mean, on the
our-
draft, okay.
our attempt
Based
to
on
try to
this.
make sure that we're reflecting in the RFP what the community wants to have reflected in it,
I mean,
within the bounds of having the space to be a food service establishment.
I have no idea what's in the RFP and the level of detail. I would be hesitant to micromanage their method of operation because we're not in the food service business and whoever.
But I want to know what, if we know what's in it, so.
But
Well,
there's all kinds of things that we would prefer to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Count as brownie points for the applicant that they can, such as food service all day long, such as coffee service, such as counter service. such
Right.
as dinner service. I
Yeah,
mean,
walk up,
Right,
whatever.
those kind of things.
Take out window, you can walk up and grab something out of window.
Yeah.
And that-
Those things are important to us.
We should
Some of them
put
might
those the
be.
things we want to put in there.
Yeah.
And if you want to say no catering, or, no big events, we can put it in there. I mean,
I'm not
everybody goes
sure.
for it.
Well, I think we probably would want limited.
Limited,
close.
I think.
That was the question about closing out.
Yeah.
But again, that would be something also for their liquor license, they're gonna have to get the approval of.
No, but it would be
Yeah.
kind of nice on the RFP itself.
Be able to
say so,
And we
yeah.
say We're expecting no more than however many, and I don't know what the rule of thumb is for the licensing committee on how they determine. I think there are some standards.
There are,
Usually there's
Yeah,
a
for the
limit of
first-
how many people
first
can
year and
occupy so many square feet, right?
There is, but what the licensing committee looks at, and I think it's ridiculously low, which is why I know it. 75 people counts as a large home,
venue, yeah.
and that kicks in their large venue rules, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that might be what we're looking for. But again, I'm not sure I want to micromanage that level yet.
Yeah.
But we might look at an RFP saying, like, we don't want, at least what I'm thinking, I'm saying this. At Pier A, we had like the bottom level was like a beer garden, right? Then you had upstairs, for a while it was dining, and then the upstairs was not much of anything except it got rented out for spaces. I don't know that I'd want to have anything reserved only for renting out spaces, because it seems like that limited the use of that space.
My concern, just to be very
But I
specific,
don't know.
is that, say after work, one of the brokerage houses, they have all their Christmas parties,
Yeah.
or it's this summer, whatever, their summer.
Maybe that they could do.
They,
yeah.
the restaurant is then closed to the public,
Right.
and they use the outdoor space surrounding it also, and,
And
So,
works
is
that
that- I think that's something the community should weigh in on.
That would be
Yeah.
outside
And
space.
Do we want to have 0 of those or a limited number of those?
Because you
And
figure it's good.
We do want the operator to be able to.
Make
a
money,
commercial
yeah,
gain, but
yeah.
otherwise there won't be an operator there.
Right.
The community board may want to use that space one time. for
Yeah.
a holiday party or whatever.
That's what I'm saying, but
I've had my hand raised for a while. So if we're gonna do Robert's rules,
Wait, everything, and don't jump out.
I'd appreciate being recognized.
Yes.
So, Nick, is there a drawing of the space of what it's gonna be? And if so, then I would say, let's look at the square footage
That-
and see what's
On your chart.
legally permitted. What is legally permitted for that space, and then how much overflow space? Like, is there an intention, Nick, do you think, for some outdoor seating? The way Gugino used to have?
There is.
There is, yeah.
Is
I
it
think there
vacant?
is, right? There is some intention of
Yeah.
outdoor seating. which is out there, it says so on the bottom.
See that?
On the bottom, outdoor seating.
Public,
But there's
no,
not
I don't see that, sorry.
Outdoor seating.
Oh, over there. I'm looking at the tent.
And then it's going to be on the other
On the
side
side
also,
of the
but there are only
Outdoor dining.
supposedly 2 tables.
Well, again, depends on how they're gonna do it, but this will be the outdoor dining. We also don't want, they could be putting, like, we talked about it, and some of the stuff we saw as pictures was outdoor dining where they encroach on the other space, whatever. I do not want them to take the public space.
What are the other space there, to know how much seating can they have and how much needs to
And
be
it's not
reserved
being
for people
chosen.
walking by. Or riding, you know.
Well,
get
what
on
the RFEI says,
going by.
the RFEI has that information.
Mhm.
And what it says is that the main floor space, 2792 square feet, which may be used for indoor dining area seating, along with limited back of house space and 2 unisex bathrooms, plus adjacent outdoor seating area. Doesn't specify the square footage of that. So that apparently the usable dining space is 2792 square feet.
Inside, and bigger than this.
Inside and outside.
It says 1,800 square feet.
I think, well, I don't know where this came from, but that would be this space
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
Yeah.
as opposed to
The
including
whole
all that
thing.
space as well.
And maybe they're including the whole thing. That was the
And
REF,
That may have been from the response of the
If that
RFEI,
is.
how they were gonna divide it up.
And this is just a suggestion.
Okay.
of
So
the
there's
place.
2,700 feet that can be divided up. These guys chose to divide it up.
That one.
This came from somebody who wanted to.
Well, not necessarily wanting to use it, but giving ideas of how it could.
Ideas.
So it's 2,800 square feet. That-
Yeah.
It's a nice size. No, it's
Nice
perfect.
size.
But I think this drawing is kind of useful because it's
Yeah.
the way they suggested configuring it.
Yeah.
There'd be a dining room that would be about 1,800 square feet, and then there would be counter service and various other areas
So you could break it up into the
that add
different.
up to that 2,700 square feet.
Right.
I could say one more thing as far as how it would work for the community. I've always thought in that park area, it would be nice to have something that would fall under the heading of a snack bar.
That's what
If you want to get ice cream for a kid or this or that, you can get it, you can sit outdoors.
Yep.
And then
So-
that remains open, you know.
So that's what they asked for the price points. Go to the next slide, please. Oh, yeah, okay, that one, but now go to the next slide after that. So we talked about, Sarah, one sec. If you want to look at this, we talked about different price points. We want it open year round. And we want to understand that the residents of Lower Manhattan and especially Meadowbrook City and the workers who are here, we are the customers that are going to be in and out of that space. So you want to be catering to the people who are going to be here to use it. Because the world changes. You can't count on the tourists coming. You can't count on the workers being here 5 days a week because they're not anymore. You know, if you're lucky with hybrid working, there's 2 to 3. So you really want the residents to be supporting this and financing it. And as you're saying, the residents are people who are gonna come in for, coffee, for snacks, for lunch, and for a sit-down dinner, right? And maybe you could even have a sit-down lunch too, depending on what works out.
That's sort of in the next slide.
Yeah, Sarah?
I'm wondering if there is any idea what's happening with Pier A right now? Because that had been a place where you could get coffee, ice cream, whatever, sit down, go out. It had been that kind of place, and perhaps we don't need 2 very close together doing the same thing. However, if Pier A is not going to be anything like that anymore, then we do need it.
Is there anything up
Do
here?
you know?
Is there anything?
I don't wanna speculate on
The
Pure A.
authority controls it.
Are you listening, guys, to the answer? Wait,
So,
sorry.
the subject of ongoing litigation, which
Yeah.
hopefully we're close to the end of and the start.
But I wouldn't wanna speculate on what Pure A will or will not be. We do know that obviously, if and when we get to the end of it, we would want it to be a space that can be enjoyed and accessed by the community regularly. I don't know that we should view this through that lens yet.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a possibility.
Do you have a timeframe on this?
I wish I did.
On Pure A, you're talking
But
about.
we should also be aware that.
Oh.
About on our park.
On Pier A?
PRA, no timeframe.
You're
you're on
right.
vacation.
Here, I can't
But
remember.
also
How about-
remember that there are advocates at the community board for a very particular use of Pier A, which is to put the Statue of Liberty ferry operations there. Whether that has any chance of being realized.
Get it out of the
The
park.
community board 10 years ago thought that was an absolutely terrible idea, but there are people on the community board today who think it's the best idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, it relates to the fact that
Be better than
wherever
that.
you have that ferry operation, it kind of has a negative impact. Right now, that negative impact is felt in Battery Park itself. Space. Yes.
With regard to feedback of this item that's up there now, and you talk about diverse clientele, one thing I'd like, it seems minor, but you do have kids and after school and what have you, and I'd like it to have something called like affordable ice cream. And so that kids can get an ice cream cone that doesn't cost $10.
Agree, no, I know, I agree with you.
So specifically, I'm thinking ice cream and,
Yes.
and
so we need
maybe
to put that down.
very
as-
specifically to that point.
I would like to, so as we word our whereases or our
Yeah.
resolution, you know, the therefore be it resolved, these are the things that I'd like to put in there.
Yeah.
Diverse clientele, looking to
Love
see
that.
who we're feeding. Okay, so I talked about coordination of PRA, but we're looking like we're not doing that, but next, at this point, we're gonna focus on this one. Go ahead, Betty.
I have two things I want to say. One, we have no Asians on the committee who are speaking right now, and I would heavily suggest when you're talking about food, include some members from that population about the kinds of foods they're looking for, including the snack foods. I'm hearing things people are saying, and they're reminiscent of what I did in many of my travels in Asia, and they just go different ways. So why create something for one kind of class of people and exclude everybody else?
That's a very good point, and I'm hoping if there's people online who will pipe in, that will be really helpful, because you're right. We are catering to the population that we are.
We're representing-
We're
That-
familiar
yeah.
with.
It's a nice
Okay, second question, then Gabby, go ahead.
Oh, the other question, the other comment was, when you talked about doing catering, I was thinking it could be some kind of carryouts, because some of the people want to take something out into the park and have a picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people, I was thinking like River Terrace 6. If people can rent it out for a birthday party, whatever, wouldn't it be nice if they could cater it within Battery Park City as well, rather than have to bring in somebody else?
No, it's a great idea. That kind of catering.
Yeah, to give them some jobs, to give them more work to do when they bid for that location.
It's like catering outside. We'll just, what, is that what you mean, by what would go down?
Outside as well as carryouts, but people want to do picnicking kinds of activities.
Yes, that makes sense. Gabby.
Just kind of building off of the diverse food options, making sure there's like vegan, vegetarian.
I love
friendly,
that idea. Yeah,
Gluten free,
yeah, yes, exactly.
nut free.
Not free. Yeah. No red fruit. Sorry. No, I know, of course, Sarah.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, diverse, that's it. Diverse.
It gets creamier.
Food options. I love the idea of being allergy aware. I mean, it's
Yeah,
much-
especially with so many schools being nearby too.
Nearby.
Yeah.
Kids
Big more
running
issues,
over
yeah.
after school, yeah.
Aware, vegan, that's a great idea. I mean, they could do that.
If Mayor Adams can come.
So these are different ideas. I'm not gonna read what's here, but, this is the kind of thing, if you want to take a look and get an idea that these would be the whereases, I'm thinking, or not, they have to be resolved. Yeah, good.
Well, I mean,
These just come as like a letter of recommendations from the community board that's added as an attachment to the RFP, correct?
I don't know if they're gonna be in the hatchet. We're asking them to consider what our thoughts are. I mean,
as they
as
draft,
they draft the RFP.
Okay,
And so, yeah,
yeah, to the extent they agree with them,
but
put
we,
them in there.
yes, and what our big thing is, please think about this.
Yeah.
And please try to get some entity that addresses it. And Zach, do we see if it is online? I think it's lovely, and nobody, if anybody who's online has anything that they'd like to say, to add to this, that would be great.
is the RFP, giving any special, I guess, consideration to MWBEs or veteran-owned businesses or?
We have built-in MWBE goals for, the authority as a state entity.
Okay,
So yes, those would be included. I don't know them offhand, but we have certain performance goals we want to hit for SDOVBs and WBs, et cetera.
and will those be included in the
That'll be the
RFP?
RFP.
How come disabled are never on those lists?
It should be the full.
Yeah, it's SD,
Yeah.
DOB, MWBE, yeah. It doesn't mean that that has to be chosen. It means that
Right.
if you are someone who has that, you get.
Additional points, yeah.
Consideration.
Yeah.
Well, let me just raise that, implicit in a lot of the things that we've been saying here is that we think it's a good idea for the park area of Wagner Park to have picnics and food, people eating food. So we agree with that, right?
Well, I just want to make sure people are cleaning up after themselves. Or they take
I mean, that's
something
always the
to,
argument.
always.
That's one reason I.
That's right.
yeah.
But I mean, there's nothing to
Picnics anyway, so I think they'll clean
right?
up. I mean, I picnic there.
Yeah,
They do it all the time in Rockefeller Park.
Yeah.
People come with their wagons and their family and sit there for.
They-
I'm not arguing against it. I just want to make sure that people are realizing that
That
we
the-
are encouraging that kind of use.
Yeah, which I think makes sense.
And
I mean, I think it
lovely.
makes sense. It was the use before. It wasn't that messy. I mean, and it's not up to the parks folks to clean up after people.
Right.
Well, it is, isn't it?
I mean,
yes.
It's
Like they clean up after
it should be,
sex.
but they, yeah.
Have to do it.
So, but yeah, sorry, yes.
As a shameless plug, I'm sorry.
Sorry, but then there has to be some kind of package or something offered, because I know a couple times when my son's been over because somebody's child was having a birthday party in Rockefeller Park, so why not visit mom while you're here? But I don't know that they, one, probably didn't leave a mess, but if they did they have an option for someone to come in and do it, or does it have to be kind of under the radar that you just informally go in and do your party and leave?
If you get a permit, if I throw this out there, if you get a permit, they know you're there, they'll offer you tables, they certainly come by with big black garbage bags for you to
Make
clean
it
up after
easy.
yourself.
Yeah.
They kind of circle through, and if you're really, lots of stuff, lots of big pizza boxes, they'll come through, pick that up and give you another bag. I mean, I've done that at West Thames Park, I've done that, I haven't done Rockefeller because
Yeah.
it's not close, but that would be it. So, but no one,
No,
I've never expected anybody to pick up my garbage, beyond what I put in the garbage pail.
As a condition of the permit, you have to leave the plate that.
In place as you
clean,
found
But
it.
it doesn't
That's
mean
with
that
a
our parks operations folks don't go through. clean the parks.
Exactly, yes, that's what I kind of meant. Go ahead.
So that's with a permit, but a family of 12, and
That's
friends
easy.
may go out informally and just eat.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then,
I see a lot of that.
you don't know what's gonna happen, but
My kids,
most people
boy,
do.
friends of the kids. and-
Most people do,
So-
but
But
most people
again,
clean up after their dogs, but a lot of people don't,
Yeah, this is true.
unfortunately,
I just
so.
a nice consideration maybe to ask is like, to-go containers are all compostable and things like that, like.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Build
Yeah,
on the
compost there, like,
composting.
on site, basically.
Wasn't that already listed?
No, I don't think
It
so.
will be, but that's certainly,
There's a lot of sustainability stuff in the.
Certainly in keeping with our goal that we always ask folks, and it's very important every month, we always ask folks to kind of consider what they're taking with them to the parks, if it's something that. can
And the
be-
recyclables are
Take your
there.
garbage with you.
but yes, certainly that is in keeping with the goals. That will certainly be reflected, but you also certainly put that in there if you want to see that.
And to that
I think
end,
that goes a long way. It's a great suggestion.
will there also be water fountains so that people can refill? There are now.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
will those still be there? People can refill their
Bottle
water
bottles
bottles.
specifically, yeah.
Not just, not just
That is.
Yeah, not just that, but
fillers.
Real water, like they have in the airport and
Right.
whatever.
Fillers, yeah. Helps us
If you put
close.
I remember that being something, I may not have time then, but water,
Bottle fillers.
the bottle fillers, yeah, water stations, basically, with bottle fillers.
yeah, and maybe more than one,
Yeah, I
So that there's
station,
a whole line.
Yeah, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
next slide,
like the airport.
please, Don. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, right? Cause, and I think the last sentence, or the last point is, we want it open to us and people, the
Right.
public who can use it, the residents and the workers who are coming through, not a concert venue or
Well, and I heard some people at one of the talks talking about, wouldn't this be great for your daughter's wedding?
No, I mean,
I don't want to be a wedding destination
No,
for a lot of
no.
people.
no, that's what Battery Restaurant.
That's
was,
what,
right?
yeah, or Pier A could be.
Up here, it could be.
There is still that one in Battery Park. over
That's what,
on
yeah,
the
that's
east
the Battery
side.
Restaurant.
Yeah.
The view, right?
Yeah.
You, yeah, that's what it's called.
It's so strange. It's
What
got
is
the
it
best
called?
view
I
in
forget.
Europe, and it
The
looks
Battery.
so.
Yeah.
The Battery.
Oh, that's the,
I have a question on this.
yeah, go ahead.
Talking about music from the, are you saying, should we say no live music? From the
No,
restaurant?
just
I'm not sure they care whether it's live or not, we just don't want to.
Okay, yeah.
We don't wanna hear.
Loud at night.
Right, so does that mean they can play music outside on their patio area? Do you need to be more specific?
It's hard to micromanage that, I don't
Yeah.
Well,
know.
that gets done in licensing.
I think-
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, the licensing will deal with that.
Well, that answers that
A
question.
street
Yeah,
quartet out there isn't so bad. I mean, or a DJ that might be playing recorded music could be ear deafening.
Blasting,
Yeah.
right?
So it's really,
That's why they say not amplified.
That's live music.
But isn't
Yeah.
that area still going to be used for the occasional concert? The lawn,
Say that again?
the whole.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So we've seen
So-
some, so with Roger Park currently under construction and closed, some of the staple events have moved up to Rockefeller, as we know, so like Battery Dance, River and Blues. And the feedback there has been great. People love it. It doesn't mean that they won't return to Rhinebeck, or that they might find other things that go to them. But I think, yes, it is envisioned to have that as a great gathering space. as
And
well.
in terms of the noise factor though, I mean, I think you guys were very careful about how the water, putting the
Yeah,
music
but
down to the
but-
water.
Yeah.
Also, this RFP is for the commercial operator. It's one thing for the authority to host program event
That's
or
different.
issue a permit for an event. It's another for some commercial operator
To
to
be,
be.
yeah,
Exactly.
alright, so. Does carbon, what does that mean, zero carbon certification that you're targeting? So is it the things that we're talking about here? I talked about, I knew I had to refill.
Yeah, I think it's the goal. I don't wanna, again, speak out of turn. I believe it's by 2050, the goal is to be, carbon neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, a few years out, but it's getting closer all the time. So that's generally in keeping with what I think the state's goal is, and our goal generally is to, be neutral in the amount of carbon.
Just
producing.
put that in there, but just spell it out, like to talk about, if we're gonna do takeout, use recyclable materials, don't use those darn plastic utensils, right? And don't use plastic straws.
and don't give stuff that people don't need or want.
Right, exactly, ask them first.
Well, then make it that simple and just say, be consistent with the Battery Park Cities Authority.
Authority.
I would share that. The one thing I would flag on that language specifically is like, the pavilion building itself is designed, like, it's not, we're not gonna change the way the material that the pavilion is built from.
I mean, okay, right.
But
I mean,
interior
talks about
furnishings,
it,
let's say, of the restaurant, and when a vendor is chosen, maybe there are ways that they can kind of fit out that interior space, but the pavilion itself. for the
And
structure
we
of the
talked
pavilion,
about
that's-
the wind turbines, the
that's-
solar. I mean,
That's not gonna,
It
that's
was
not
a
gonna change.
comment,
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a
But the-
comment that I'm including in there that we could vote on. And then again, this is where the authority has the right to say, no, thank you, we're not gonna do that.
I thought that, it was already going to be powered by solar.
The building, the building itself, they were saying that.
Fine,
And done by the authority.
fine,
Yeah.
Not by, you'll do it as you build the building.
sorry,
No, that's fair.
I just wanted to clarify.
I have a question going to that as well.
And then, yeah.
Will then the restaurant stoves and everything be all electric?
That's the idea, I think, in the RFI.
It does say that? Okay.
Yeah, you're not.
I don't wanna say it's specifically electric, I know it says, Jeff actually had the language up, I can pull it up.
Yeah.
Which is hard for restaurants, I think, to make.
No, it's not, you just change something
All
different.
of them are
Yeah.
electric, and they cook very well.
Yeah, it's a different,
It's what people have learned.
It's a different
It's a
world,
relearning
yeah.
if you have to switch.
and then we talked about the partial or green living more, but go ahead, Gabby.
Local hiring guidelines and we're trying to hire locally, trying to hire like
That's nice.
3 residents would also be nice.
That's a really good point.
Who do we think should
Job
get
training
hired?
for teenagers,
Yeah.
local hiring.
To local
Hire
residents.
locally.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I think there are people in other neighborhoods who need jobs better, or other neighborhoods where their young people
Specifying
need
for
to
local
learn
three, or
this.
section 3 hiring,
Second,
Low-
sounds good.
low- low income,
Okay.
Yes, that I.
local
Okay.
section 3 hiring.
I'd like to address that though
And
first.
teens, I
Yeah.
think teens would be, teens that live locally and job training opportunities for them.
I think some
Maybe.
jobs are
Maybe.
important for all teens,
So
but
do
I
I.
think it's a kind of a.
Maybe the teens whose parents don't take them to Switzerland to see the end.
I can take my kids to Switzerland, and I can tell you, in Battery Park, in Gateway Plaza, people are probably not taking their kids to Switzerland, except, I don't know, Jeff.
It's been a long time since I've been.
I work too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the kids I know do work, and I
That's
think there's
fine. I'm
something about
just,
working in your neighborhood
It makes it a lot easier.
that makes it a lot easier, and it's nice, and you know the customers who come up.
It doesn't need to be 100%, just like a.
It's all nice, but
Summer,
but I think
summer
low
jobs.
income
I like the idea of
sounds
section
best to me.
Section
three hiring, that
yeah.
means low income, that's good, or
Maybe preference for everything else is equal, but you can't keep screwing the middle class and say, the parents make not enough to pay for you, so you can't go to college because you make too much for us to give you a job.
right, you can't,
Pick my
yeah,
favorite child and that one I'll go to college.
yeah, right. No, I know, I agree with you, so but, hiring locally just solves that, and then saying, local section 3 hiring, because that's gonna be full-time jobs. So the kids that are gonna be working there part-time, it's supposed to be summer jobs, whatever else, which you're gonna figure.
Yeah,
Or-
after school
or-
hours, yeah.
But I was full-time I was full-time.
Well, in the summer,
Yeah,
but
but
that's
they still need
temp.
more
Some are
help.
full-time,
Right,
and
temporary.
like holiday hiring, they tend to bulk up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's an idea. And see who wants to work, because the kids can't, they won't be able to do, depending, they won't be able to do during the school day, because they're working, so they could do evenings.
Oh, I did.
And the school, if they're at school, they can't go to school.
Well, they worked my hours around my.
I worked 2 jobs in college.
And I'm talking about college, I'm assuming we're talking high school. College, you do what you go to do.
Yeah.
You make your,
We've got kids who still live at home who need summer jobs, basically.
that's what I was thinking, that's a
But I
little.
wouldn't restrict it to only high school.
No, I'm not gonna
No,
restrict,
no,
yeah,
no.
I agree with you. No restriction whatsoever, just hire, job training.
Kids, we have the community college, and we have lots of people.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta be 16, I think, or 15 to get a work permission or something.
That's when I was, back in the dark ages, I had to be
16.
15 and get
We
working.
could also find a way to reach out to the nannies and the home health aides that fill our neighborhood for their grown children, their school-age children who may need jobs.
That's a great idea.
Mhm.
They could come with mom to work.
I mean, those are things to pay attention to. How do we put that into language?
I think you can just
Well,
kind of
work
work on people hiring
Yeah,
that already work and live in the neighborhood.
Yeah, work and
Perfect,
live.
work and live.
What do you mean work or live?
And or live.
And live.
Yeah.
And then section 3 hiring as a separate goal.
Okay. Preference to people. Who, live or work in the neighborhood,
Or whose families work,
or
correct?
No. You got a turn down there.
Oh, don't do this to
There.
me.
Yeah, that's how we feel.
Alright. Okay, so we
If you
got that.
follows
Local
anyone,
section
we'll
3
lock
hiring.
them up.
No, that's okay, thank you, but here, I put this in. All right.
I
Do
do
we have an idea how
I
to
think-
answer this?
yeah.
We've got a good idea as we go. So any,
It's pretty much the
No.
points that we've included on there, plus a handful of additional.
I think that's fair. So question for you is becoming for an hour of talking, can we make this a resolution without it being put together? So go ahead, Gavin.
I love that, and I love that it's going to BPCI for consideration. I would love for it also to be a part of the appendix to the RFP, so that even the things that you don't include in the RFP, somebody who's responding to it can read it and say, oh, these are things that are really important to the community. So even if it's not included, maybe they'll think about responding with some.
Okay, go ahead,
I
Betty.
disagree. The RFP represents a body that's going to be doing the decision-making. I think it's too confusing to the applicants to say, what's this other, and what authority does this group have? Because am I gonna target for their attention? Am I gonna target for this attention? Who am I talking? I just think it's too confusing.
I responded to many RFPs where there was a community board letter attached.
Hmm.
I think it's helpful to know, and even if they're not the ones in charge of making the decision, they're still gonna be coming to us for liquor licenses, they're still gonna have a relationship with us. after, they get the bid, it's important for us to know, them to know what's important to us.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in a way, it's almost like a service to them, since they do have to come before the board,
To let you know.
to let them know what the board is
It's on the
thinking.
board's
That
mind.
makes sense. And Nick, is there any feedback to that as a concept? I mean, is this something you're like, no way in heck, or are you saying I'll consider it?
I mean, I don't wanna make a promise I can't keep. What
I
I
know.
can say is the timeline roughly for the RFP to go out is, and we slid a little bit, but
You
that
did, thank
actually ended up to our benefit, I think, because we had some additional time to discuss it with the community. Right now, we're looking at the week of the 15th or so, so not next week, but the week after that.
So
That's gonna be before I think you guys get a chance to finalize that. However, I think it's entirely reasonable is once the RFP goes out, once this is out in the public domain, the fact that this exists is something that, folks could be made aware that this is how the community board has weighed in. I don't
that
think
would
that
be
that,
fair.
I don't think that hurts.
No,
I just can't say that we would include it in part of the RFP, not just because, even without the timing issue, but especially now because of what may be timing issue.
yeah, no, and I appreciate, and I really have to say once again, I appreciate that the Battery Brook City Authority at least waited for this meeting to hear from more people before putting it out there. So, we'll try to get this written, maybe over this weekend, get this done, and then have it out there as a draft, and then we have to, of course, vote on it
Right.
the full board. But as long as we're all good with it, that would be my request, is that so basically what's here, plus we're talking about adding, I would like to add, if nobody objects, but I'm open to objections, Jeff, too. Talking about bathrooms, having the same bathrooms, public bathrooms, not of course in the
But
restaurant.
see, that's not,
That's okay, it's not forced in the restaurant, but public bathrooms having the same number of stalls as we had before to ensure that the restaurant is not encroaching on the space.
Right, and that's how it ties into the
Restaurant.
restaurant.
But that
I guess, but the restaurant space is.
is different, and in the
It
restaurant,
was already designed.
Right.
It's a restaurant space. It is what it is.
But we-
I mean, if we want to weigh in on the public, I mean, I don't know.
I think
how
it's
many
too
stalls
late
there
to-
were in the,
I don't remember either, but I bet,
I've never used those, well.
oh, no, I mean,
Once or twice I did, I'm sure.
I don't recall, but I bet you know, Nick, or you can find out. But yeah, so I mean, I would like that, so that, let's have a common consensus, yes or no to that comment.
Yeah.
Because that is outside
What
the
was the
scope,
question? I'm sorry.
about the bathrooms. I'd like to.
Oh, I can follow up tomorrow and let you know.
And I-
It should be the same, I believe it's the same number of fixtures.
And just making some recognition that the public bathroom space should not be, the number of stalls should not be reduced.
Right,
or the size of the restaurant.
Yeah.
That would be the language there.
Yep.
People who are agreeing with that language, raise your hand. If they're fine with it, they're not gonna like vote down the resolution.
I agree with it. I would modify a little bit to say an equal for in total. Why? Because if they reconfigure it at all with males versus females versus a gender neutral or.
Agreed, agreed, yeah.
As long as the total number,
Yes,
Equivalent.
same total number of stalls. Yes, exactly. Total.
Cause it would rock if they were just all individual stalls, like right there, like that.
Yeah, I know, but I bet
But it
it's
won't
not.
happen.
Same total number of stalls. I agree with the same total number of stalls. Anybody opposed to that as adding that? I don't think she's opposed to it. Should happen. Okay, so we're gonna add that piece to it. Then I like the idea of the diverse food options added as well as diverse clientele. And put it in there, if possible, allergy aware, if possible, vegan alternatives.
I don't know if I would say if possible, I think it's sort of
Okay,
essential, yeah.
Okay, allergy aware, which restaurants tend to be, vegan options.
Yeah.
that you know.
There has to be vegan options, it's,
And then we want to add in, we want low cost food, snack options,
right, low cost, affordable,
low cost. I mean,
like ice cream.
yeah. Compost bin, so I mean, adding, we'd like to see, we'd like a compost bin, the recycle bins are, I know you have them there anyhow, but a compost bin
Yes.
that's there, so that people who are in the park can throw their compost into it, as well as, the restaurant clearly having its own compost bin, that would be lovely, work right there.
Okay.
And then water stations with full fillers, I think I have it in here some, yeah,
And you
provide
can
refilling
find that,
water
yeah.
stations for water bottles throughout the pavilion.
And one of the ways this especially ties into the restaurant is because a lot of restaurants love to charge a fortune for bottled water.
Yes, there you go.
So it really needs to be, I'd say, in action to a certain extent, but the need has nothing to do.
Yeah, water should be free.
Water should be free.
Provide refill water stations for free water bottles throughout the pavilion and
Well-
I mean, I'm not gonna force it in the restaurant, but people can bring in their.
I mean, we can say that, but
Yeah, we can't force.
we're not asking the restaurant to provide. a
Correct.
water
No,
station.
no,
No, so that
but
would
it
be in there.
ties into the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, it ties
Yeah.
into pollution and all sorts of things.
Right, so if that's okay, can we make, would somebody want to call the question?
Question.
Second.
But are you gonna talk about the roof space at all?
Oh,
Yes.
actually,
Yes.
it was mentioned in the slide, but we didn't actually.
We didn't talk about it.
Because there should be some shaded area up there, because there are people who are very sun sensitive. And if it gets really hot over time.
Yeah, it gets very.
It does,
Well, so let me
Yeah.
clarify though, that the roof space is not part of the licensed.
restaurants,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about the public.
We're not talking about the, I mean, I know we're jumping into it a little bit here with it, but we're not talking about the public space yet. We're gonna do a whole other separate resolution when Nick comes back to us and says, okay, now it's time to talk about the public space. You guys came to us, we got up with break and said, okay, now, do this, talk about this now. Give us the same kind of headway to know when it's time to talk about the public space and to design it, because as Betty points out, when we talk about the roof, there were things.
Like outside dining.
Get outside dining, is there gonna be outside dining, what's that gonna be, is it gonna be part of the restaurant? We don't wanna have the roof taken over for public, or private use, basically, and yet, it's not so bad to have people be able to walk there with food, or maybe we wanna have some food kiosks, or something, so that's not,
Well, what we say in the slide about outdoor seating
yeah. No,
is
outdoors.
outdoors. Outdoor seating dedicated to the restaurant is appropriate and probably desirable, but such seating should not consume all of the outdoor dining related seating at the pavilion. Seating should also be available for the general public for consuming food or drink that is not necessarily purchased at the food establishment.
And I think that is,
On the rooftop, we say, consistent with the RFEI, the rooftop should not be licensed, although public seating for food or drink may be desirable as long as such rooftop seating is available to the general public and not limited to paying customers at the food establishment. We can add shade for outdoor dining as well.
yes, let's add that in there too, so that's good.
I think those were both very good points.
Yeah, and that's here, so that's good. So Michelle, Ashkin, I think, yes, is got something to say. I know we called the question, but I didn't see you before, so we're requesting you to unmute yourself. You're unmuted, Michelle, go ahead. Yes,
Hi
we
there.
can.
Hi, everybody. Two quick questions. Well, one's a comment and one's a question. So the comment, you were talking earlier about, if people have parties or, picnics or whatnot. And I have to say that last year, I remember walking often by Rockefeller Park, and the amount of trash was so extreme that, and there were these big bags of these big green, bags or stuff, but it was a mess. It was truly a mess. I have a lot of pictures of it. If you'd like, I can share that with you, because I was so upset by what I was looking at. It really was horrible. So I think that we need to make sure that we have a plethora of garbage disposal, not just bags, because people were putting pizza boxes and bags, but they weren't closed properly. And then some of them were opened and there was trash spilling out of the garb. It was a mess. It was really awful. And so I think we need to make sure that that is not something that's going to occur, either by putting a larger number of bags, whatever has to be done. And if you'd like, I can send you those photographs. I have them someplace, and so you can see what.
Yeah, send them,
Yeah,
send them to Zach, so we have it.
To
That's
what?
lovely.
To who?
We'll share it. To Zach, so tell your email.
I'll put it in the chat for you.
Okay. So that's the comment. Just a question,
Okay.
because I was actually on another Zoom while I was trying to listen to this Zoom. It was kind of difficult to do both, actually. I didn't hear the beginning of this, and I haven't really been at these meetings. I just haven't been able to. But are we looking at Wagner Park? Are there going to be a number of eating establishments, like sort of like a food court kind of thing? Or are we going to have, or is it going to be one restaurant, because I'm a little confused about that from the conversations that I'm hearing. I'd like to just say, as a member of the community who's loved living here for so many years, having a lovely outdoor establishment, having Giginos was an absolute, it was really a treat. It was a treat because it was so calm and so beautiful and such a lovely place to have a quiet dinner and look over the water. And it was just, I would hate for us not to have something like that again. I know it was pricey, but it would be really, it was a wonderful destination. We went there for birthdays. I went there for special occasions. And I know, it was really beloved by the community as well as those outside the community. So can you talk just a little bit more? I'm sorry if you said this already, just what kind of the overall plan is?
So what we were looking to do in our, down here, what we were looking to do in,
There's basically
Yeah,
a
sorry.
space for food
this
service.
is the one here,
and
yeah.
An RFP is going out for somebody who wants to fill that space. How they choose to fill it, most of it is up to them and their response, but it's designed for a single restaurant.
Yeah, we're looking to have the same restaurant be the one that's gonna be open, and be able to provide, access for people to have breakfast, people to have lunch.
Yeah.
And people to have a sit-down dinner and a nice, nice, lovely dinner. That's what we're looking for.
To what Michelle said, do we need to specify that it should not be a food court style?
We could do that. I mean, I think it's clear, but
Yeah, it's not intended, it's envisioned to be a place, I don't wanna say Giginos necessarily, but, envisioned to be a place where there is an operator that operates the space. There may be different options within that, so for instance, there's a dine-in or there's a takeaway, but it's not intended to be food court.
yeah, no, because that would make sense. And that is how I understood it from the RFEI.
We could add that.
Yeah, so yeah, we don't want food court. That's fine, no food court. That's fair. So thank you, Michelle.
Okay.
I think-
And
so-
where shall I send these pictures? I'm trying to look for, here.
Oh, it's on the chat. So look in the chat. He gave you his email in the chat.
I don't see it.
Look for the chat.
She wants to send her pictures.
Yeah, to Zach, in the chat, he gave his email.
Okay.
All right, so if we're good.
Oh, here you go. Okay.
Okay. If,
All right, we'll call the
we
question.
call the question, we've seconded the question, are we good? Let's vote. Let's see, so we're gonna go by affirmation, I think, and so everybody, I'm gonna assume is yes. So anybody who's no, raise your hand. Anybody who's abstaining, raise your hand. Anybody who is recusing, raise your hand. Okay, so I think it passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, and we'll get this to you quickly, I think. We'll try to. You and I together will discuss. This way, the committee can weigh in on it beforehand and then Zach. All right. Next topic, sorry, is going to be the review of the BPCA presentation on reaches 2, 3, and 4. So we're gonna have our comments back that we can share with, I promised I would say something here, so give me a second. Reach discussion. Sorry, okay, sent. Okay, so now I would like to pull up, yeah, thank you, you're gonna do it, right, the slides. So anybody who was at the, this is March Environmental Protection Committee meeting, the Battery Park City Authority presented a really long and detailed, presentation on the reaches. When he pulls it up, it basically is going from reach 2 starts at Stuyvesant High School and goes all the way down to the the Brookfield Ferry Terminal. So that's the area we're looking at. It's encompassing Rockefeller Park,
That's reaches 2,
3 and 4. Yeah. It's all of them. Okay, so now, depending on how many comments we get to give to the, Environmental Committee, Environmental Protection Committee is meeting again, and we're doing a joint resolution on reaches 2, 3, and 4 at their April 16th meeting, I think. So we're gonna need to have people show up. Jeff, I know, and Sarah are members of that committee, so they will be there. If people can show up, that would be great. I will personally be at an event for my daughter for college, so I will try to call in, but I'm not gonna be able to vote because I won't be there. So if people can show up in person, I would not hate it. But, at the end of the day, we can talk about what we want to say, we can give our indication strongly as to what we would like added. And, I thank Alice Blank and the committee for agreeing and allowing for us to weigh in, because this is our backyard. And while the environmental committee, protection committee is focused on a lot of things, because it went beyond just these regions, it went the whole lower resiliency project. This is where we can weigh in. So, all right, with that said, Zach, I'm gonna push you. So you saw the votes, oh, yes, right again. So this is the project here. Move the chat over. And, okay, so what the authority said that they were looking at was they want to have a universal accessibility. They wanted to maximize the number of trees. They heard that, they protect as many trees as possible, adequate soil depths, blah, 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 okay? And question about seating came up. Okay, immediately, seating adjacent to the building, which is the Stuyvesant High School building. Okay, so this is the area we're talking about for Reach 2, and they're at the 40% plan. So as I mess this up, anybody, Jeff and Nick, work with me, okay? I'm gonna try to go this quicker than they did, okay, because there's a lot of slides. So they're looking here to build out into the river at this part here where it's brown, right?
No, the brown is simply, the.
On the lower level, right?
The indicator of the pavement.
Okay, pavement, got it. Okay, and there is a built
cantilever-
out-
There is a cantilever part over,
the transition curve here.
yeah.
I thought the so you're gonna build out into the river all the way or just in this corner?
I believe it's gonna go out a little bit, I don't,
I think.
Is that where it's, yeah.
I thought it was gonna go all the way out a little bit and then you're gonna have a step down to that level, but
No,
no?
that's, let me get to the slide to see if I can remember what they indicated on that.
Transition curve needs to be no pile distance, 15 feet from the existing platform. I think they're building out 15 feet.
15 feet into the river.
I thought so.
It's 6 feet.
6 feet.
That's
into the river.
It's 6 feet.
Here we
and-
go.
And it's
Right, that's the
cantilevered
6 there.
over, it's not 6 feet, as I understood the description, it's 6 feet of cantilever over the current.
Am I right?
So there's 6.
The
right,
shelf sticking out, but it's gonna go out into the, when I say into the river, we're gonna have 6 more feet of space to walk on, ride on,
right over the river though, not in the.
not in the river, over, got it.
And
Why am I not?
this
is it not
to the
functioning in my
north.
head?
Because Pier 25 would be on the
Oh.
other side.
So yeah, Pier
Oh,
25
I'm-
is up
I'm
here.
thinking it's,
This is,
I think it's
This
facing
is Chamber Street right
west.
now, in front of this.
This is
yeah,
facing north?
facing north.
Yeah.
Okay,
this is basic, right,
alright,
exactly.
alright, I'm sure,
And this is Stuyvesant High School here, so now we are going,
got it.
this is a little curve in, right? As if you're walking, running, this is the curve in.
From Hudson River.
So what they're doing this, they're making a meandering path here, okay? And I'm looking at this.
Well, actually, you're looking at the old plan, the 40% plan.
Didn't they smooth it out to be straighter?
Updated plan, got it, okay,
There.
that's why, so 7 feet. And that's the distance that's gonna cantilever out.
No, it's still 6
6
feet
feet.
cantilever out, but that's the distance of that particular
walkway.
surface
Got it.
compared to the main walkway,
And they're coming.
as
Okay.
I understood.
I have a question about the cantilever
Mhm.
pertaining particularly to the needs of the neighborhood. One issue that's been raised in the past was safety. And since it's cantilevered, you know, God forbid somebody falls in or whatever to the river, you won't be able to have the, you know, life preservers there. Is there any safety issue because they'll be 6
Sucked under, you
feet,
mean?
they'll be sucked under and won't be able to get up?
There is, most of the Esplanade as it exists today is cantilever. There is a wall in front of it. That doesn't, that just stops stuff from washing underneath the Esplanade. There's a wall that's there.
And will that happen here too, or
I
no?
believe that's also the case there, just so people wouldn't have things underneath it. But like, for instance, outside Gateway Plaza, if you go and look over the Esplanade, that's over the water right now. But if you look
But
straight
there is-
down,
It looks like there's a wall.
Looks like, well,
Okay.
that's not structural, that, I mean, it exists, but it's not something that's
Okay.
it doesn't go all the way.
And that prevents people from being.
Well, we've had people,
People can still get sucked under.
Yeah.
if you go deep enough, but we've had instances where, someone had deployed the safety ring. We had
Yeah.
a conversation with 3 boards some years ago where
Yeah.
the recommendation was made, we added safety rings as a.
We did, that's what that
Well,
was,
yeah.
so we have them now, which is nice.
Will they be effective, then is the question, and I assume you will have them here, and will they be effective in this particular
I
situation?
mean, I don't know that they'd be any more or less effective than they are in other
Yeah.
towns.
And you will have those.
I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't have platforms, yeah, we have them now.
I understood from the presentation that the interface between that and water hasn't been designed yet, and they are looking for, natural elements and things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I think, indicating that safety is a concern is.
It's something, yes, so now, John,
However they end up designing it.
Right.
it's-
Especially lessons learned from the original design.
We're making notes, perfect, yes, these are, we're gonna put notes down to what we're gonna tell the environmental committee. And then.
But is it any bigger issue here than anywhere else where someone's right over the water and kind of jumps in, which has been the case in most of them?
Yeah.
But even now, there are people
Some more
who jumped, they
teens over
climbed
here.
over and jumped in,
That's
the
why I
rocks are
said,
down there,
people
so.
have done that over
By Stuyvesant, by the.
Yeah, I think before it's worse than.
Carried on.
Well, we'd like it better, actually, yes.
So
Yeah,
safety
you're not gonna
is
stop.
making sure being aware of it.
Right, and I think we should maybe push it up to, to say that, lessons learned, and greater safety should be employed in this
Yes.
design.
I think that makes sense. Okay, so here from this, the transition curve is within 15 feet, all right, and you're still getting approval from the Hudson River Park Trust, Tammy said,
Working with
Well, they're working.
working with it, meaning,
That's presumed approval.
yeah. And then the wall is gonna be built like it is in the south neighborhoods against this wall here, right? This red is the wall that's.
That's simply right against that.
Right up against
Yeah,
that.
up against Stuyvesant, and so,
And it's actually not very high.
does it need to be, right? So,
It doesn't need to be.
Because the
quite as high.
Esplanade is being raised up
Right.
there.
Yeah.
I think there's some rendering of it here at some point.
on this meeting, okay, so this is it, and the next slide is this one, I'm not messing it up, okay. So now we've flipped it. Okay, so this is Stuyvesant. This is the West Side Highway down here. And this is the Hudson River, and what they're looking to do is have a circulation point here. And you guys, your idea is to break this up a little bit and get rumble strip area. With the rumble strip is like to make the bicycles stop and slow down. It says rumble strip area, oh, I'm sorry, in graphics area, rumble strip is yellow.
I think the idea is to divide the bicycle and pedestrian path as they come off of the Esplanade and onto the Hudson River Park.
To get them to come to the Greenway.
Are you allowed to be on a bike there?
Not, I mean,
I
you're
think so.
not supposed to be.
Well, but you don't want them
Where do you mean by
to
there?
by
Green-
virtue
the
of
green
fact that's the
area?
right way to go.
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't be anywhere on
They
the
should
right
be here.
of Stuyvesant High School.
Yeah, they should be here.
Oh, no, they're allowed there. Bikes are
People,
allowed there.
people live back there and they come
I
all
live
that way.
Bikes are allowed on the Esplanade, yes.
I think they are. They're not-
We encourage folks to use the greenway as the fastest
Right.
north-south route.
Yeah.
But some years ago, we had some conversations with the community board
We didn't
about.
wanna block it.
But the general consensus was we didn't want to prohibit bicycles.
Some people want to go down by the water and just relax and.
But like anything else, it's shared space and people need to be
But so
considerate
I
about
think the point that they were trying to make during the
Yeah.
presentation is that this green is the bicycle circulation. We don't want them turning here.
Yeah.
into This is the pedestrian walkway along.
Right.
We want them to come here to Greenway.
And go on the greenway
Instead.
and then go either direction from there.
Do check the legislation that's out there right now. I'll check it. I could have sworn that I just read some, because I read transportation stuff all the time. And it was because bicycles are not legal if you're over 12 on sidewalks. It was saying you're gonna start a promotional to say that you can't be on esplanades, walkways, sidewalks. If they say that, then I think this has to be considered
Yeah.
Are you gonna go contrary to what the New York City is,
Wow.
I think for the rest of the city? But I will check, that's something that's
If
pending.
you could check, yeah, if it's
keep us
pending or if it's
updated with
actually
that.
passed, that would be something to consider for sure.
Because that's law that's above us, so that changes things, but.
Education program that has. to
Yeah.
do that.
Right, right, because
But
people who ride for their
But I
jobs,
think that there is
so
probably
uneducated about what.
one of the lesser controversial.
I think so too. It seems like this, there wasn't much fuss here, safety and flow of traffic and keeping the bikes off of the walkway, pedestrian walkway and getting to the greenway seems to be the focus here, and they think they're doing it. And I see no reason to contradict them. That's it.
Although, can you go back to that slide second?
Yeah.
One thing, that we all should keep in mind is that Reach 2 actually begins like right up here.
Yeah,
And there's gonna be another presentation on Reach 1, which is down here. And even though we're all Battery Park City, we frequent these areas, and so I encourage everybody to try to attend the
Battery
Reach
City's
1.
up there too, guys, not all south.
That's on the sixteenth, so that's at EPC this month on the sixteenth.
You're gonna be talking about 1 and 5, right?
This way we'll have done each of the reaches in committee.
So, right, so they're gonna have a short conversation, I'm thinking about this, just kind of incorporating our ideas, but,
Nick,
Yes,
simple question, but since the state DOT is now talking about 9A having some bike and other uses on the street itself, I hope that stuff is factored in when making these decisions, if it's coming. Because for so long, the DOT wouldn't even talk about it. Now the state is saying they're gonna follow through with the agenda that really, Mark Levine had.
yep.
but he wasn't talking about bicycles, I think he was gonna be talking
No,
about.
he's talking about taking a lane from the highway, which I sincerely disagree with.
Greenway.
They thought it was, the greenway's too crowded, I don't know.
It's not.
It was,
The other
The
half.
west side.
West Street.
Bananas.
Taking motorized bikes and putting them in the street.
putting them out there would make sense.
8-inch cargo bikes by the
Oh.
26th of this
Yeah.
month.
Oh, my God.
In any event, that's a different subject for.
Yeah, so the BP's announcement, we are working with a range of agencies you can imagine, including
Right.
state DOT, so that would be integrated into whatever, where that's at would have to be accounted for in our design. But it's a good flag.
As it's, as noted, the authority has gotten this idea of the meandering path to slow down people. Is what their concept is if it's meandering, you're not gonna get, people going too quickly. And you've got a good flow of people here, so that's what their idea with circulation.
Is the Battery Park City considering not allowing people to do their jogging?
No.
That's the one that's trying to slow everybody down. Joggers want to.
But then.
No, I think.
No joggers in Florida as well.
I think they raise a good point. The slowing down is there's intended to be two circulation paths.
Yeah.
The slow path is the one that's closest to the water in this particular diagram.
Yeah, down here.
And the
The
faster path
Is the one that
is
has
the
the
one
curves.
that has that meander.
But just so we're clear, the opposite is what happens.
Maybe.
It's nice to go jogging.
Every single day I'm on it, the fast people are jogging on the outside. And on the
Yeah.
slow path inside
Yeah.
are the people with the
Stroller.
strollers
Yeah.
and the walkers.
When I'm talking about inside, outside, is this.
This
okay,
here.
it's different
Yeah.
than down by.
Do you see the pointer or you don't? Because basically, this is gonna totally change up what's
Is
there
that gonna
now.
be raised,
It's gonna be an extra piece stuck out.
like over on here,
It is.
wherever the
I think
volleyball?
Is there an elevation slide here someplace?
Maybe? No.
Is it out?
No, but if you keep going several more slides, you get a rendering of what that area looks like. Keep going,
New palette.
keep going, going, keep going.
It's
Keep
got-
going. Okay,
Yeah, right
there.
No, it's lowered.
Well.
Yeah.
Well,
looks-
That goes down.
Lowered, but it's
so the-
not, yeah.
the
This is
Waterway
all-
actually
That's
is
low.
a little lower.
There's a,
This has been raised up.
oh, this is up.
This is up.
This is the flood wall, it's only like a foot high. This-
And the school's behind the wall.
The
Yes, that's-
school is behind the wall, yeah, that's Stuyvesant.
Once all the renderings have the actual colors of the buildings in
Right.
question, it'll be easier to the south.
Because
but
the
like-
school is not visible in the
Right back
picture.
to green.
It's school house,
The
the
white building.
Side of the.
white building is Stuyvesant.
The
That's
white,
the
not the
white,
gray.
it's
The
Stuyvesant.
gray building is Stuyvesant, whatever,
That
white,
gray,
gray.
It's turned, what's the wall?
It's not a wall, it's a building.
This.
No, the
you can't-
wall
this
is like a
this is building. This
thing.
is both Stuyvesant and the residential building.
Okay.
This is
Wall is here.
all that wall.
That
Jesus,
wasn't
it's a
even
wall, it's a
visible
bench.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a.
I feel like it's
That
existing
looks like
now.
nothing. Okay.
Exactly,
Right, but-
and so
Yes.
the walkway
This
that
is
we're
like
talking
that wall's
about
gonna
is
stop.
this big
Well,
walkway here.
everything's been raised.
And this is the
That's big.
fast walkway, and then the down here is the slow
Whatever their
walkway.
standard
It
height.
is whatever the rule is from the water service.
Confusing, because when you're on the south part, the top is where bikes can't go, so that's kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's gonna have
Raise the.
This is raised.
South-
That's what
and
makes
that's
the
raised.
difference.
That's all it
But
is.
it does change up.
There's
But yeah,
steps
it
into
looks like
Stuyvesant
this is
there. The
bigger
steps
for
may
people
not
to jog.
even
You
be
got the jog
relevant.
line.
This may just be at that
But,
height.
so this is the idea of what they're looking to do. The one thing I want to point out to you guys, and I'd like you to weigh in, we were very clear that we did not like this concrete seating in the south neighborhood.
I don't like it in the north.
I don't like it in the north either, but I,
Well,
Why?
what they said
It's
about it,
for-
yeah, tell me this, the hardscape.
it's gonna be covered with wood, so.
That does almost nothing for me.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but the,
I
to
prefer,
be clear, it's not being proposed currently
this is
that
the,
you would sit on concrete, you'd sit on wood that is on.
That is on.
Yeah, just go back or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
those are new
people
colors.
are negative
And
about
that's.
that.
Yeah.
strong.
again, say reusing what we have.
Well,
Go
but
ahead.
think of Kelly's comment too, and a lot of people agreed with him when he said, we very much have the feel of Central Park as we do in Teardrop.
Yeah.
And those kinds of benches, and that's the sort of feel. And this, he said, you know, Hudson River Park is a real nice park, but this is bringing their feel up to here, and this is not Battery Park City. And we want it to be harken back to people thinking Central Park sort of look, and those sorts of benches, those sorts of rocks.
So, I mean, that's a good summary of what Kelly said. He's basically saying, like, there's sort of almost a branding to it.
Yeah, there it is, yes.
The way the benches and the architecture generally of the Esplanade currently, and a lot of these renderings do give the appearance of a different look altogether. How do people feel about that one way or the other?
Those benches are constantly broken, the traditional benches, and they don't fix them. There's 2 benches on that thing right there that have been broken for 3 years. So, right there, right outside of Stuyvesant High School. There's one on the corner that's been broken for years,
Really?
and there's another one, and then all the ones,
Esplanade, I see them fixing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
maybe
a-
you're Rockefeller. Yeah,
Maybe they get
Rockefeller Park, they're
repaired
broken
and
all the
broken again,
time.
though.
That's not good.
I mean,
And
there's
that's the
skateboard-
steering wheel.
Well, they just-
It might be,
Skateboarders.
Yeah, so they get fixed and broken.
That's an important.
Well, it shouldn't be that long, so let's connect
Rough
offline.
behavior, right?
We do that all the time. We literally are fixing benches now.
No, but it's separate from a maintenance, you're basically making durability.
Right. Right, the concrete and the wood are more durable. I don't see them broken on Hudson River Park ever.
Can I ask a question?
Just go for the Central Park level.
Justine, are you?
I'm sorry.
Randomly calling people.
Yeah, please, please, go ahead. Get a picture together, ready.
My opinion is, this is like Central Park, this is our park, this is our only real green space that we have, and we want to be able to sit outside comfortably with a back and read a book. And you can't, those are not benches to spend more than a few minutes on.
Which one, the one we have now, or the ones that?
The ones that are
Oh,
proposed.
okay, yeah, I want to make, yeah. be
Yes, so the back, the traditional Central Park style bench,
clear. Mhm.
so people can read a book and they can sit out and do their knitting, or they can rock their baby in the stroller, or talk to neighbors, which you cannot do on those benches. So it's the antithesis
Of what?
of what we want.
I think, go ahead, Eric.
I'm sure this has been said before. When is this happening?
When is this, oh, the dates, do we know when this is gonna start?
Um,
Yeah, we kind of, about,
I would say, so it's not gonna all, not gonna happen at once, the construction's gonna
Yeah.
be staged.
Yeah.
I would say, generally speaking, think of the latter half of 2025.
By reaches, so reach
By
two
reaches,
probably.
yes, but in terms of what happens when, that's
And.
And the
field
reach
work.
phases will follow like the numbers, like one and two will have to.
When they do that,
But we won't do all 7 at once, obviously.
are you completely closing that section? When this happens? are you
Yeah,
completely
because
closing-
that whole platform's being,
When they're doing particular portions of it, like when there's one that's be range, right, that's gonna need to.
So
be-
that you have to, so people aren't gonna be able to run back there, walk
That's
back
gonna be,
there.
need to be, that's gonna be, need to be.
How, about how long will that reach take? for construction?
Yeah.
And that's gonna take a
There
while, right?
Yeah.
is-
You're gonna
Yeah,
wait.
it's kind of a longer conversation we had about kind of construction stage and what it looks like and when. I don't have all the details yet, but we'll be
Not this
discussing
year,
it
next
going
year.
forward, but not, yes, not this year.
Not so well.
And this won't necessarily be next year, either. It'll be depending on
Sure,
when it's made.
depending on what it is.
I have
But it'll only be closed for the time that construction's being done.
I mean, yeah, because we want to be able to get it back to the public as soon as it's ready to go and not close it until it has to be closed. But I don't want to kind of imply that it's not going to be very impactful. It is, it's a very big project necessary, but it's not going to be without impact, certainly.
So, okay, so
You
clear
don't get what the
comments,
staging is either.
so clear comments that we do not like.
no, I'm not sure. that-
I don't know, do we have a
There were
comment?
multiple comments.
Could we get a discussion about, could we get a clear idea of what our comment is gonna be about the seating?
I go with,
I have no problem with the seating, like, I've sat there before, I see tons of people sitting there, but I've never sat there for a long period of time.
No, no,
Which
no,
seating?
the new seat, we're talking
I
about.
need the benches that are there now.
The benches that are there now, my proposal would be, and I know you don't necessarily agree with me, my proposal would be,
One way or the other.
is to reuse what we have now, the World Fair seating,
Style seating.
style seating,
It's fine.
to keep reusing what we have now. I dislike.
It's not your reuse.
Central Park.
To expand, yeah, to continue to use and expand.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're gonna take it out, because they have to move everything. I would like to save it and reuse it.
Okay,
but
all
it's
right,
Central
good.
Park look, now World's Fair look.
Well, they're
Well, that's
called
what
the
they're
World's
called.
Fair,
That's
from the
what it's called.
1939 World's Fair, that was the design.
I actually learned about this today from Ryan, just so we know. So
Yeah.
the Londino bench is the common bench that we're referring to as Central Park with the wooden slats
Yeah,
and the concrete.
and the concrete.
Concrete
the
base.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The World's Fair benches are the ones that have the metal.
and the big
Metal
curved
backs.
tiers.
What we have now is the World's Fair.
We have both.
We have, but we don't have this now.
No, but the two benches that Nick described are the two kinds.
We do.
We have these?
No,
No.
He's talking about the
two
benches.
kinds of wooden
that
ones.
Stacked bed.
Over the Molino and World's Fair.
With the steel legs and some that have the
Right.
concrete base.
Yeah.
Okay,
Say Molino,
Londino.
Londino, like London.
So we do need to comment on that. From our perspective.
I gave my comment.
Well,
Well, we need to have, I mean, I think,
there's going to be a resolution coming out of the environmental committee, and do we want it to address?
benches,
seating.
seating.
Yes.
And my perspective is, I'm not a designer. And so I'm always reluctant to specify details of design. But I don't have a problem specifying kind of characteristics that we want to see and characteristics that we like. And we like the look and, the current look and feel.
Mhm.
That doesn't necessarily preclude or force you to use it every single nook and cranny in the Esplanade, as far as I'm concerned, but we do like that look and feel, and I think generally the sense that I get is we'd like to preserve that look and feel in the rebuilt Esplanade.
Mhm.
We also like seating comfort, that these seats are not, in our minds, a place that you sit down for 5 minutes and get up and do something else. We like seating that you can sit down and read a book in, watch the sunset or whatever. I don't know what that translates into in terms of comfort. I look at these concrete things and I think I probably would not want to sit there.
No,
for more than 5
It's not
minutes.
conducive to the community feel or usage.
that's what I would think,
We also want anti-skateboarding.
right, which
Yeah.
looks like this is.
So we should.
Get around this.
I was just gonna say, I completely agree. I think that leaving kind of the design to the designers, but saying things that we like about what's currently there and what we would like to see in the future is a nice add-on, but I prefer to let designers
How did we do
design
it?
and community members
Yeah.
use.
Use, there you go. How did we phrase it with,
The other reaches, I don't remember, but we were talking about volume seating.
Justine, Justine,
You do it.
end of the table is getting
Yeah.
ignored by the people in the front
Yeah.
of the table.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But it's not, the extreme temperatures aren't picked up. Wood is much more moderating the temperature, whatever the
Agreed.
ambient temperature is.
Yeah.
It also has some give to it.
Well, they are, I mean, their reaction to that comment is to say that if they put in concrete, there would be a wooden layer on top of it.
But the the concrete completely stops the wood from having any compliance.
I would think so
Oh,
too.
wait, no, it depends how they do it. It may
Depends
be
how-
up on a little thing
Again, I think we let the designers
up
worry
above.
about
We
that.
want the
We
comfort
say what,
be
we're,
fixed.
yes, we say the comfort, the
Yeah, we want it to
And
work.
I mean, I guess
The
I,
community said they did not like that look, period.
Yeah,
That was
period.
one person after another
Yeah.
said that.
I
Liners, couches.
an issue. So I mean,
It's a
no,
huge issue.
my answer is that I typically,
Soft,
I'd be stronger
snow weather.
than
So I
Jeff
can really read
and
that.
Gabby are being in terms of what I like and what I dislike. I expect fully that the designers will design and do what they want to do. But I also feel like it's our job to say what we want, and with the authority, it was just a chance to say no. I mean, they've done it before, and they do, you know, so I think that being as clear and direct as possible when we can makes sense. But that's my opinion, and we're gonna have to vote on that, so that's one thing we're gonna have to vote on. But I see that we have people in the attendee section, so I'm gonna call on Brittany first. I'm muting you now, Brittany. Maybe, yes, you're unmuted, Brittany.
You guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks so much. I would agree with some of the comments, just talking about the design. You know, I also am not going to be prescriptive of what design it should be, but I think there's a lot of care taken in Battery Park to design it a certain way, and I just don't see the reason for changing the design. It also, when you talk about specifically the benches, it matches Teardrop. I don't know if there's a plan to then change all of Battery Park's design, but there is consistency across Battery Park. And I mean, I think it would have been very carefully done and it's worked. I've never heard anyone complaining about the benches, so I just don't know why change them.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, thank you, Brittany. I agree with you. Michelle, I'm unmuting you. Go ahead. Why can't I unmute Michelle?
You only request that, I mean.
Oh, okay, you have to unmute yourself, Michelle. Okay, I'm gonna talk in the room. Am I supposed to?
Hear me now?
Yes, I can, yes.
I just stuck it in the chat, but I recall, I'm not sure which park it was at, but there are, if we're gonna go with wood benches or if we're gonna request wood benches or recycled wood benches or, you know, whatever material, hopefully sustainable materials they use. There are park benches that actually have like, it's like a curved, the top of the bench is actually curved and it's curved so that your back, it fits your back really well. It fits any back well. I'm trying to find pictures of them, but they're really, really comfortable. Way more comfortable actually than the ones that we even have now. Because the ones that we have now are like, those were around when I was a kid. And so I think we could request that they consider a more comfortable ergonomic design. I don't mean to sound, you know, it doesn't have to be overly expensive, but there are benches that feel more comfortable to sit on, not just for the, you know, your backside, but also with your back and your head. And the ones that I'm thinking of are the ones I've seen them in quite a number of parks where they curve. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about what's in, we just, Pier 26, that park outside there. They've got benches where you can sit back and they're
And they-
tall. My frustration with that goes to what Kelly said. It just changed the whole character of the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so
I
this
just wanted to
picture-
suggest it because they're very comfortable. So if we're looking for people to be able to sit out there comfortably and have conversations and read a book or knit or whatever it is one wants to do, you know, they're just more comfortable benches. Just wanted to throw that in there. That's all.
I hear you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And this picture here gives you, I think, the idea of the concrete with the wood on it. This picture here has an idea of these, like, I'm gonna call them captain's chairs. I don't
Well,
know.
they're kind of bar stooly.
Bar stooly, yeah.
I think there's a general negative.
Negative feeling to that.
They have that sound at the Seaport, they're actually really
Yeah.
popular.
it's not conducive to.
Well, you can
community.
sit there and work. That's what makes
Yeah.
them popular.
These
But it's
Boston
not
ones,
They are popular
Community.
in the Seaport,
Yeah,
popular or?
You're working, actually,
working, but where, how are you working? Because
on your laptop.
There's a,
there's a bench, there's a bench there?
Working from outdoors instead of from home.
Huh,
Just do that on the other bench, but you can't roll your baby stroller.
no, well, they've got the safety there.
Like, you do
Not
that
everybody,
for first
but everybody, and there's a space, but they
We
don't,
do don't have them forever.
yeah, right, exactly. Interesting.
I like the variety of benches. I think it appeals to different types of people that use the space.
Well, I think in the bar stools, you're gonna get a lot of fishermen, they'd be good for that.
That's
good,
fine.
I don't know if that's a certain, but it's-
So, okay, so let's
Either
make
they're
a
gonna be there, they're gonna
consensus
stay
here.
there.
Maybe the answer is that we have a mixed bag. How many people are voting to be, so Jeff, you and Gabby had language. Michelle seemed to kind of agree with you with your language. How many people agree with them? Raise your hand.
Well, I'm not
Wait.
sure what I'm.
Summarize that. That's right. About the benches, you were saying, to be, let the designers design. We care about comfort, we care about the wood feature.
We like the current benches, but we also care about comfort, we care about durability to the extent it's gonna be deviation.
Sustainability.
The sustainability, to the extent, which is, I think, one reason the designers were pointing out the concrete apparently is more sustainable in some way. That, I mean, I would say, I really hate to micromanage the design, you know, and, I also think the authority has a pretty good track record of making a place that looks very nice.
But I think that we don't want it to look like.
Don't want it to look different.
Sorry,
Yeah.
whatever the park is. We
Let's
don't
go.
like them at all. We don't want to be an extension of them. And we like the look of the old Central Park feel. In fact, Teardrop Park, as Brittany brought up, I've been on one of the tours for that. That was actually a miniaturized version of Central Park. The way the placement of the greenery and the stone and everything.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, the blue rock and everything.
I
It
thought
all
it was the
made
Adirondacks.
specifically to be mimicking Central Park. And it's stupid to make that go out of character with the rest of everything around it, especially when a lot of the people spoke up and said they liked the Central Park kind of look.
I don't disagree with that, but the point I'm trying to make is that as a non-designer, I'm not sure what it takes to preserve that and what it takes to destroy that. And I just don't feel equipped to say, well, if you put this bench there, the whole look is gone.
We're not doing that.
No, but if we say thou shalt not use a concrete bench, we are doing that.
Well,
But I think.
You're okay there?
I'm saying that.
I am
That's
saying
fine.
that.
That's a reception.
You're saying
Yeah,
that.
thou shalt not use
Yeah.
a concrete bench.
Yeah.
That would be what I,
I like that.
I'm
So
very
there's,
against
thou shalt, yeah.
Very against.
against, not thou shalt not use.
Yeah.
These are the two
I think that's
pieces.
Different types of benches for different types of people that use the benches.
But they
And
don't
those
go
benches
together.
I know.
I see how a designer.
Oh, it's okay.
I'd like to add to that because I think it leaves out what to me is the single most important part. That these parks serve a use for this community. This community has lots of young children, it has people who are elderly, it has people who work from home. And that,
But I'm not sure what that has to do with the concrete.
because that design is not conducive to using our outdoor space in a community-friendly way. You can disagree.
An older person who sits down may need arms to get up. They may not-
Absolutely.
But there's different benches in the rendering.
Yeah.
Part of it is you sit outside, your neighbors walk past, you
I don't
talk to
disagree
them.
with any of that. I'm just saying I'm not a designer and I doubt that any of us in this.
This
room
is an
are.
Okay, so, but you
But you have eyes, right?
want to stop till they, we don't agree.
Yeah.
But I
I
would like,
think they're just two, because none of us are designers and
No.
none of us are
It's
planning to be
not
designers.
designer.
They have two different looks.
what I'd like to do is come up with a consensus, a majority of what we want to do. And I like, okay, so to be fair, I like the language that where Jeff starts, but I'm not even adverse to to having that as everything you just said there. But then I would like to go further in the next whereas or next thing to say, how many people just really hate the concrete benches as an option?
Yes.
But I'm not sure that.
1, 2,
I have to
3,
convey
4,
to
5.
the
No,
environment.
so what I'm gonna say
Get
is
the other
that,
side, then. Get the other vote. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Convey it, but I'm
Who's
not-
left?
I don't know what I'm conveying.
1,
okay, so,
4.
It's not
There's 9 of
continuing.
us.
It's still what I'm conveying.
And there's 4 who would say what the designers designed.
We said, okay, is that what we want?
1, 2, 3.
That it's
Up
not
3.
conducive to the use and needs of the
Okay,
community.
well,
Clear.
okay.
I have
Sarah,
to convey to the
Yes.
environmental committee something,
Yes,
and I'll
correct.
convey whatever the committee, whether I agree with it or not.
yeah.
Are you literally saying that there shall not be a concrete bench anywhere in this project?
I would be willing to have your
It
guys,
sounds kind of ridiculous.
I know.
The concrete benches as presented
are, are unacceptable.
Or use
Or
sparingly.
we don't like them. I mean, I don't know.
don't like,
I know.
concrete benches as presented do not meet the needs and uses of our community.
In what way?
They are not comfortable, they're not meant for, long-time use, they have no backs.
See, but
Elderly people will not be able to get out of
Can
it.
they convince us otherwise? Maybe that's
will
what
not-
we responded to all those by saying, we'll put in armrests, we'll put over wood, we'll do this. And
I know, but-
you said,
but I
don't believe you. or-
I still think it's, I prefer, I
Respond that way if they want, but we still have to voice our opinion on this.
That's
So, but are we
okay.
saying that even if you put in armrests, even if you're covering
Yes.
them with wood, we still don't want the
That
concrete?
this is covered
Because
with
we
wood.
just don't like it.
You're asking us
I don't
why, no,
I
because we,
understand. I
Could
don't-
we go back to Robert's rules?
Yeah,
Please.
stop jumping in, yeah, so
okay.
you wait your turn, Sarah, and then Mary Ann.
Thank you.
Hold on, I kind of have the floor. in
Yeah,
the
okay.
sense that I'm trying to figure out
Yes.
what it is
You want us to
that you
say,
want me to.
We're here to help you.
And I know, but so far,
we're not helping.
you are saying you don't want a piece of concrete anywhere in this project that's a bench. And I'll say that, I
But,
don't
but
think
that
that's.
may not be consensus, so.
Well,
I don't agree with.
No, it's not- it's
I'll
not-
convey the majority.
Majority, Sarah, go ahead.
My understanding of the concrete benches is that, they're there when they are part of walls that are indeed anti-flooding walls.
No, they're not at all.
No, they're not intended to be structural.
Okay, but when they are part of
They're
the
not part of it.
anti-flooding
They're
wall,
not gonna be.
Then we'll
So
accept.
so there's no when.
then we
But
would
they made
accept it.
clear-
Let's say if.
They made, yeah, if they're part of if they're part of a flood barrier
Can I
protection
give an
plan.
example?
Wait,
Hold on.
you're looking at an example,
Can't argue
right?
about Robert's rules if I keep interrupting.
Well, I didn't keep.
And they said that when we asked them for Region 6 and 7,
Yeah,
that
they said it's not
They- yes.
resilient, it's
if,
design.
if they came back to us and said, we need to put this here because it's part of our flood barrier protection and it's a level, that changes the whole picture because that's.
But that's not, but that's not.
But that's not what they're saying. This is aesthetics. So now we're talking about aesthetics, which is what I feel very, I feel as if we have the ability and the mandate to weigh in first
Absolutely,
aesthetics.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, I still want to come down to it. Either we like, this is the concrete with wood. My answer is that we don't like Reach perspective.
How about if we say,
Sarah, did you need to speak?
committee does not like
They don't,
the
they didn't
concrete
agree.
benches as presented and the
Yeah.
renderings.
And-
And among other reasons we didn't like them is lack of comfort, lack of armrests, lack
Yes.
of the ability to put a stroller beside it. You know, we don't know.
Adding a slab of wood to the top of it doesn't.
It may help the part of the comfort, but it doesn't help the other.
But it
things.
changes the feel and the look.
And the-
And that's what Kelly's, yes, that is the biggest problem.
biggest
So it can feel.
Because,
Okay.
yeah, let him write it because he's gonna have to convey it. And anybody, wait a second, Marion. I mean, please go to the committee because I can't swear to you that I'll be there. But Jeff will be and Sarah will be.
Which is the look and feel, the comfort. So armrest.
Until we get the renderings that have the school, as the school looks, we will not be able to tell how these things really look or will look. These are all schematic.
Well, it all,
Doesn't
We're
help.
not, isn't that
But the
the
prob-
part that it is schematic.
It is.
We're at schematic.
just don't look at the color behind it. You're showing the green.
It means nothing to me.
With,
But they're not gonna show you
Right,
construction
is-
drawings until they're at CDs. Right now, they're at schematics.
yeah, exactly, that's the answer. So you can't get what you can't get. And even have,
I've got a list of reasons why we don't like concrete as,
it just,
it changes the look and feel, which I think
yes,
is really one
of
of
the
the.
neighborhoods. That is a major thing, yes, that's it.
Slab.
Concern of
Slab
comfort,
cement on the floor.
armrests, no breakup to allow strollers or wheelchairs. to
The
be-
great- that's the same for them.
Concerned about skateboards. Any other reason we don't like them?
No, comfort is, I think that's about it. And that's what we just like, and that's fair to convey. Michelle, I'm gonna give you 1 minute. You're unmuted. Or on-
Okay, I just want to say this concrete is what, as in the production of concrete is a major CO2 producer. All right, it's one of the major CO2 producers in the world. And so if we're talking sustain, it's another reason not to use concrete, but no one.
Agreed.
So I just wanted to add that as well.
Thank you,
Okay.
Michelle, because that's a very good point. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, concrete as a material is a problem. Um,
We're concerned about it. I mean, that.
which again, this is
Sustainability people say it's actually one of the
Cut
more.
down more trees for the
less,
benches.
for wooden bed, yeah, there you go. Oh, no, use the ones we have. Sorry, that's my point. Use the ones we have. But all right, next. Okay, so we're gonna move on to breach three.
Actually, to that.
Oh.
Reuse, yeah.
Reuse what we have is my answer, so we don't cut down trees. Okay, so now we are looking at, let's try to move this along because our computer may die. That's the next best part of this here. I snoozed it, but that will be the joy of our function here.
I think we need to talk about the wall displacement.
Yes, that's here. This is 3, right? Breach 3, so now we're looking at Rockefeller Park ball courts and playground, and this is another area that was a big problem. Rockefeller Park plan. And this was.
Actually, while we're on that slide,
Stop that.
I think it's a good slide, Dave.
To stay at.
Okay,
this
people should understand that the flood wall is shown on this slide. And it's this red thing here, that's gonna be the flood wall. And it's not a misprint that it just starts here, it actually really only just starts here, because this area over here is already high enough that it doesn't need a flood wall. And so when it starts, it's actually relatively not high, because its elevation is 16.5 feet. So when it starts, it's only a foot high here. Now, it's deceiving because you have to go pretty far down underneath, and that has all sorts of implications. It does get, and so by the time you get to the ball courts here, it is about 2.5 feet high. But if we go, I'm not sure where the one for the playground is, if we can advance another couple of slides. Yeah, okay, so there, this elevation by this point is 12 feet of the ground. And the wall still has to be 16.5 feet. So now the wall is 4.5 feet wide. So it's much more noticeable down here by the playground than it was back over here. And by comparison, there's a slide in here somewhere that shows that the current height of the wall that's there is a little under 3 feet high. And so the new wall, that's the ball court. So the ball court, you see
This one?
yeah, so this is a cross section where the basketball courts are. So the wall itself is really not all that high here. It's 2.5 feet high. Yeah, it's no.
This is proposed. Right, okay, so this is existing. And this is the proposed.
So it has relatively, the resiliency part has relatively minimal impact when you're up at the ball court, but it starts to have a much more significant impact by the playground.
Correct.
And so that's just a background point. If we go to the slide that shows the trees on River Terrace.
Look at the pictures with the.
But are they leaving the current wall up? Or is this new wall going to replace it and be in the location of the current?
It depends.
Which we,
But
I think
It depends on
everything,
it
River
depends.
Terrace.
I believe the old wall is largely going away, although under their proposed arrangement, they don't have to actually dig up the footings for the old wall, but the top of the old wall.
The stone work. is
Well,
gone.
everything above ground level is gone from the old wall and a new
Well,
wall.
this is what we look at now.
Make the comment before I forget it. I understand why for protective purposes, the heights vary. I mean, I get that. As a pedestrian walking down the sidewalk, it'd be very odd to have a wall that's, you know, down at my ankles and then later it's down by my knees and later it's over by my waist and you feel like you're kind of in Alice in Wonderland. It would be sort of weird.
Well, it's because the elevation of the street changes.
It's the same height.
No,
The street is, the elevation of the street
that's
changes.
why it's
Street
changing.
changes, but the wall itself.
The wall,
The
the
wall-
the elevation of the wall stays the same.
Oh, exactly.
The street elevation changes and that's.
That's why your
so the
perception is
of the wall is different.
Okay, can I comment on that?
No,
Yeah.
they missed my point.
What if in some
No, I
places
understand
the
your
wall
point, but I'm
were
not-
higher than it
So
should
we could have the
be,
high wall everywhere.
just so we had consistency across?
Oh, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so well, especially the small
Yeah, I
areas,
agree
there
with you.
need to be an exact increase that goes with
It's not-
equalizing to get to the standard height you want. But you have some level of symmetry for the eye of the person looking at it saying,
Well, I guess that is the trade-off, and we can make
Yeah.
a comment on that. Do we prefer a very high wall in places
I
where we
didn't
don't
say
need?
I actually
What's
disagree
the
with
highest in this
well,
area?
It's about 4.5 feet.
it didn't say it has to match the highest. You can pick a height like it is now for those areas that are that or lower. And at one of the breaking points, it just goes higher, but I don't see why it has to be just the lowest or be this weird incline, which visually would be very odd. Or that it all has to be over height where nobody can look over it.
Well, the height that nobody can look over it is because if in fact that's the case, that is the protection, right?
Well, it
When
depends on where you
right
are.
across.
I'm not sure if it's ever that high here.
No.
It depends on who the
Who the
nobody.
nobody
If it's
is, yeah,
if
yeah.
it's a 5-year-old child, that's.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
someone
also
that's
thinking that, like the vegetation and the trees and stuff will kind of level out the walls.
Yes.
So that's kind of where your eye will go, not the wall that's changing. And I do not think that we should be making the wall any higher than it needs to be at any given point.
Yeah.
I would agree with that sentence. Go ahead.
If there were vines and plantings.
That's what you just said.
There's no-
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
It
that's the.
doesn't look
Okay,
like-
wait, so back,
Betty, oh, Betty.
Betty, come back with, tell me again what you're saying, because and also, just for the record, for everybody who's on this call and in this room, there is something with this computer that it's going to restart and install applications and software updates in now 14 minutes and 17 seconds.
You get cut off.
So you may get cut off. We in the room will keep talking, but, and we'll finish our meeting, but I. Oh, we-
Might be able to switch into the other computer. It's.
Maybe, but
There's
if
a
that happens,
mandatory IT thing that I
If that-
can't override.
if that happens, I am
It's like
so
the
sorry.
building
But
wanted.
okay, let's not waste time, but if you know we disappear mid-sentence, that's why
Okay, chop chop.
technology.
So
Pat has to
vines
send
may
it.
make it a little better.
I have one question on the wall. Is there gonna be something on top of the wall to prevent? Because I watch families where they take their kids, and if you got something that's 3 feet high, they take their kids and they'll
You don't-
put them on top of the wall, and they'll let the kid walk on the wall, and then the next thing, you know, they're so high up. As I watch them on the Esplanade, they even put them on the Esplanade on the railing.
I know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking-
But.
Yeah, no, it's a good
weird.
point.
That's a good point, Pat.
Weird.
It's a very good point to be careful of, and yeah, maybe at some point, kind of put something there to stop it. But yeah, they do it over by in front of the Mercantile Exchange, where the wall is so high that people are running up. Yes,
You
it
go
gives
back
me
to
onto
part
that.
two.
But, all right, so things to pay attention to is that. So Betty, the idea is, and Gabby pointed it out, that with the wall, there'll be planting trees there. So if it's a low wall, what the hope is that you're not going to notice the change in elevation because the plants will take over everything until the wall is higher than the plants, depending where we are. So when you're at the ball fields or the playground that you're gonna have, the wall is gonna be there because you're not gonna have vegetation particularly.
Well, but you
That
could
may
have
not be on the side.
vegetation. If it's a vine, you know, it could.
Depends where we are, but something to pay attention to is their concept here. Now, this is where we have, this is what we really need to talk about. And we need to weigh in, and I know that folks in the attendee section Jesus, let's go quick, okay? Because I'd love to hear their opinion, and I may call on the floor if they raise their hand. What is,
Well, let's explain this. though.
yeah, go ahead, Jeff, I'm gonna let you.
So this is where the,
This is the existing.
this, if we kept the wall at the same location as the existing wall, so we don't encroach into the part of the wall, the flood wall would be too close to all these trees along River Terrace and Pink. And they all have to go under FEMA guidelines. Now, there are some possibilities of deviations, but you're not going to get deviation for a whole line of trees. So in order to save these trees, the designers proposed to move the wall 3 feet into the park. So do we have another?
That's this next slide here.
Is that the dotted line?
And,
Yeah.
let's see, what the front line is just the area of work. The,
The proposed flood barrier is the straight line that would be,
yeah, I don't think the existing wall is shown as a line on.
This done?
no. The
The
existing-
wall would move here, basically 3 feet into the park from where the current wall is. That would save the green trees, you still lose the purple trees. Now, various people at the environmental committee meeting, including members of the committee as well as members of the public, strenuously objected to losing those 3 feet of park.
I can understand why. Does that mean you have a real wide sidewalk?
Pardon?
Does that mean you'll have a real wide sidewalk?
It'll be a vegetative area where.
Yeah.
So I think the proposal is not to widen the sidewalk, but to have
And it will encroach on the side.
vegetation.
Yeah, exactly.
How do I get participant?
Yes. And,
I'm going back, wait, I love
all
it.
right, so this is,
I messed it up. There we go.
well, no, actually, that was a pretty good, that was a
Nice look.
pretty good slide.
10 minutes. Go ahead. Which one? With the people?
So both of those slides.
Okay, I just want, give me a second. I just want to see if anybody's raising their hands. So I keep track. So Brittany has her hand raised. I want to get to her before 10 minutes is up. This is the existing condition.
That's what we have now.
This is the existing condition.
And
The street is changing. It looks,
there.
And this would be the
Here,
modified,
yeah.
condition.
like
So
here.
the wall would have been, the old wall was basically here.
So that's all
Aged
that
against
is
one
true.
another.
That's all we're changing, but it's 3 feet.
It's 3 feet and it cuts into the park and it cuts into the wall.
The question is, do you want the 3 feet or do you want the trees? Because
And that's
it's
the-
unlikely to have.
You can't have, based on the way they're presenting it. Now, Brittany has the point that I'm gonna call on her now because we are gonna disconnect. You're requested to unmute.
Like, lose
Thanks, Justine. Just on this, I did submit an alternate design that where the flood alignment actually went to east of the trees. Because during one of the walks, one of the presentations, what was explained was it wasn't just the variance of why the trees had to come down, it was the construction equipment. They couldn't get the construction equipment to build the wall was the reason, not because that they couldn't apply for a variance. So then if you move the flood alignment further east on the other side of the trees, you don't have that problem out further into the road. You widen the sidewalk, make the park bigger. You take away some of that placard parking and you have more open space. And I know that I think maybe Nick is in there. I got some, very candid, summarized response of it's not possible. But I have not seen real analysis of why you couldn't do that other alternative. I don't believe that, personally, I don't believe that it's the choice between the trees and smaller green space or smaller park space. I just don't believe that. I think that there is other alternatives that should be explored.
Your barrier,
Yeah.
your rendering, but it didn't have measurements. So you go 15 feet into the street for the wall?
No, you don't have to go. You don't have to go 15 feet into the street. You can apply for vegetation variance. The problem with the tree is, the reason why they couldn't do it was to get the construction equipment in to build the wall. So if you went east of the trees, you can bring the construction equipment in from the road. That was the challenge. That's what one of the engineers explained to me at one of the various presentations or
Is your-
roundtables.
So your idea is,
Well, just to be clear, you're
Yeah.
saying you're not going 15 feet, so you're assuming you get variances for all of those.
That we get a variance.
They would have to get a variance
It's a lot of.
for all of these trees here, right?
Yep,
'Cause that's the
the
road.
row. You don't have to get it for everyone. You know, you can look tree by tree. They should, you know, there should be analysis that's presented tree by tree. You know,
So your wall is 15 feet away from some
No,
trees.
Some,
and
yeah, 'cause
others?
it would have to be, if
It's-
you don't get
it's-
a variance
the,
on
the
one,
variance is not, the vegetation variance according to FEMA is not just trees, it's all vegetation. So when they say it's just because the trees, it's not just trees and nothing. What they're all, what they're showing with vegetation next to the wall is also, according to FEMA, with their vegetation, not what they quote unquote recommend.
Not according to the engineers, but.
yeah.
Yeah. 'cause
Okay,
it would have to be the construction.
If you,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, like, I know, spoke to someone at length from FEMA about it. So I'm just telling you, it's not just trees. Like it's not it's not a hard rule. It's a best practice when you don't have the maintenance capabilities that the authority does have. So,
So now-
you know, I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but it is a vegetation variance. It's not a tree variance. So when you see renderings where there's vegetation next to walls, you know,
We're gonna cut off in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I have a question for you that you're not gonna like my question, but, my question to you is, if in fact the authority says, okay, sorry, but no, you only have Plan A or Plan B?
I want to see, what I want to see is the full analysis of
You
alternatives.
you wanna see Plan C.
I
and
wanna
what they
see-
don't tell us, right, I mean, which is fair, I hear you,
Yeah. I
hear
mean, I
you,
submitted it
and
a
then-
year ago, so I can't imagine that you can't get a full analysis. And that's what I think should go in the resolution, that there should be real analysis provided on alternatives, especially alternatives submitted by the public. That would be the
Yeah.
request. And by the way, the
Request.
further east you move the alignment, the lower the DFE is. Both because
it.
there's more room for the water and you have more topography that will absorb the water to deal with. And you should, and part of that assessment should be a cost benefit analysis of the different alignments, which we also requested in 2022 and still have, there's been no cost benefit analysis or on different alignments at all presented, at least nothing that I've seen. So you should look at them all.
So another question though for you is that at this point, you're just not willing to make a choice between A and B. And again, it's okay not to, just to say, no, sorry. But
No,
that's
I don't think there's
something-
enough information to make a choice between A and B. And I don't think the other ones have been sufficiently considered, or maybe they have, but the information hasn't been sufficiently presented.
Right, yeah, no, I mean, and again, this is not me cutting you off, this is the computer.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So what's gonna
But I
happen?
think you get my point. I think you get my point.
I don't see any other hands raised at this point.
How much time do we have until?
We got 3 minutes. You wanna say something?
I just wanted to for the benefit of the committee, so that we had reviewed that alternative kind of sketch proposal. We posted the response on our website. I'll put in the chat for everyone. There were a number of considerations, not least of which is, I believe, the alignment contemplated going behind the Irish Hunger Memorial instead of right, which would add an additional 600 linear feet of construction that would be required, which would obviously contribute to a lot more cost and materiality and probably impact to the community. There's also.
But you didn't have to take the whole alignment though, Nick, right? Like
Right,
that's
I'm
part
just-
of
I'm
it.
going by what you sent, and what you sent had the line going
Yeah.
behind the Irish Hunger Memorial.
And
It's responding to what
and
you're-
my point is on the summary, that's my point, is like sending like a little summarized document is not the analysis and consideration that I was looking for. Like it was supposed to be an actual discussion talking about it.
I understand.
questions and
One of the other
answers.
considerations was there was subsurface infrastructure by 300 VC, which that new alignment would have to completely disrupt, which would not be feasible to do. You'd have to dig up a whole mess of infrastructure and other subsurface materials, which would not be able to be done. It was not a I understand the intent and I respect kind of the want to try to look at it a different way. It was not something that was feasible or able to be accomplished in.
I understand the part on the Irish Hunger Memorial, but the part that we're talking about right now, though, on River Terrace, that didn't include all those aspects.
But how far into the road would it go?
I mean,
It would-
I think someone should look into it. Yeah, like it should be, you know,
It would have
take
to,
up,
right? It
take
would
up the
have to take
parking.
up
Well, they would need to go in 15 feet, I mean, notwithstanding.
Right.
That's a good.
Yeah, if they didn't for variance, we'd have to come in 15 feet, which would be the middle of the road. So you only have one.
You don't, you could apply for the, I think you should look tree by tree.
Hear Betty's point before you get disconnected. Go ahead,
Okay.
Betty.
Especially when you come around from Chambers Street onto River Terrace, limitation there, and the reason the city bike dock had to be put back where it is versus closer to the corner was the FDNY can't get the fire trucks in, and they know they need hook and ladders in because of the high rises along River Terrace. And so there's only so much you can move the road. As much as I would love to get rid of the parking lane, it's needed by the FDNY, and they just won't sign off on eliminating it. At least a portion of it, they won't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like from memory that you could put a deployable over, so it doesn't have to be a full wall, so they can get in. I think that the concern was emergency vehicles getting to the ferry terminal. You know,
Just get into the building.
I know people want their parking, you know, I know that they want their parking, but I think it's a nuisance to the residents.
Let me say this, that's not about the parking here, because this is all no parking zone, and this is all placards. Everything that's here is
All
placards.
illegal parking.
That's all
Yeah.
illegal parking.
Yeah,
So no, that's not, this is not about the parking, it's about the street. If anything, it's the street and the access. But, so no, it's definitely not about the parking. The problem is gonna be if they don't get a variance, you're into the street 15 feet from the wall, and you're
that's,
down that whole street.
and that's what
That's a
should be
very-
explored, right? That's my point, is like, there should be some exploration, like, you know, it's been over a year since that was submitted. You know, and so.
Oh, no, I think it's all gone.
Well, that's the case.
No, we're not out. We gotta decide, coordinate.
But for the committee,
Yeah, for the committee, we have to come up with this, we have to go through this, and finish this.
there is a real decision
It has to be made.
that has, the practical options that we present. Maybe there is some other, there's a way to move the wall into the state park. But it sounds like that's unlikely to occur. So the practical options that we're presented with are move the wall 3 feet into the park and save all those trees.
Here we are, this is you again now?
Or keep the wall in the location of the current wall and lose all those trees and not be able to replace them with a. Those are the choices that we face.
Let's go back to their options.
I'm kind of.
Or ask for the resolution to have a deeper analysis of alternatives.
Yay, Brittany, you're still there. We haven't lost, I don't know how
Oh,
we
yeah.
managed not to lose you, but we didn't lose you.
Yeah, I'm still here. You
Yay.
can see.
The difference.
I switched computers.
Okay,
We're gonna lose the slides.
we're gonna lose the slides, but that's fine.
Oh,
That's okay, we'll come back to them. But,
did you hit that?
Trees, because if you go 15
Yeah, we lost the slides.
it would be like in the parking lane, and there are ways now. Greg Bocher came up with it, and he's putting that in the streets now.
Oh, you mean in the, put a planter box or something like that.
Well, he's even gone into the ground.
But, yeah, so that is a potential option. It would require,
more work on it, I mean, or more, right?
well, it would require converting the street into a tree planting system, which may or may not be possible. I mean, I don't know what's underneath that street. No, I mean, it could be done theoretically if there's nothing under the street, but if there's utilities under the street, you have to.
But you still need space for fire trucks and emergency vehicles.
That's,
And you now have a two-way street. I think if you do that, you're not gonna have a two-way street.
You'd have a one-way.
Yeah,
right.
it has to be a one-way street.
but
Yep, that's right.
irrespective of the possibility of another option, we have two options that were discussed at the presentation at the environmental committee that we probably could weigh in on, and that is we would prefer to keep the trees and the wall keep the wall in the current place, but lose the tree.
Preliminary
West
vote on where we want to land.
Yeah.
Should we move the park the 3 feet, or into the park 3 feet? Does that mean that, the children's play equipment then moves over 3 feet?
There are actually some slides on, that, there,
Because I think that's important. I don't wanna, it's not that big a playground.
let me see if I can, I mean, I had slides on my computer.
And it's very busy, even in the rain.
The plan would be to actually expand the playground a little bit, take the wall, by taking some space away from the kind of sidewalk on the other side, and there's kind of an awkward shape of the.
The only place I can go in the whole place, and you're taking away the one place I can go.
It would still be supposedly wide enough, according to
It's
that.
not that wide. Trucks use it. You have 40 truck vehicles, I'm constantly passing them, and
What sidewalk is that?
there's just one sidewalk
On
that
the
ends
side,
along
yeah.
next to the playground.
Oh, by the playground.
Oh, it goes next to everything, it just goes
Yeah,
down the left.
Okay, yeah, that's the length.
Okay, I don't know if I can display these. or the-
No, I think that's been
Much bigger, it would make the playground.
Can we go back to that?
That's on these slides.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this is
we can't afford to lose playground.
No.
So, substantive amount, so I go back to.
Slide 47.
It would be a substantive amount of road in the playground. Well, I can't, how can we can move it? And then we can't have a small.
Say regrow the trees.
Yeah. He's getting there.
No, it's still that.
47, anyway. That one,
That one.
that one, fit it.
And then we're gonna go to this.
Next one.
So this is the comparison of, there's a couple of slides that compare the impact on the playground. Without moving the wall, I mean, you're still building the wall, but in the same place as the old wall. You lose a bunch of trees, including some in the playground.
Is that along the sidewalk, those trees that are being missed?
Yes, that's the sidewalk.
Yeah, this is sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
When you offset the wall, so far this only tells you the impact on the trees, these slides. So you save a lot of these trees. Go to the next slide.
Because the playground is the same in that.
Okay, so this is offset along, okay, so the wall would, this is where it would eat into the playground.
Yeah.
And so, the usable area of the existing playground
Yeah.
would be 8,900 square feet,
And
and
we're
would lose roughly 700.
So they need.
Where
It's a long strip, it's like a long.
Yeah.
Instead of a long.
Like where the water fountains are, like the.
Yeah, with all the water areas,
Yeah.
yeah, with the other
Well, I mean, a
pins
little
and
bit
stuff.
of it, it's a relatively small area, but it is.
It's so many square feet because it's the length of
The
it.
length.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the next slide. And so what they are proposing to do to offset that is to, so that it doesn't make it any narrower where it is, but it extends that same narrowness
Longer.
along.
Further.
And so they're proposing to expand the playground in this manner, so that this is the area, so you start with this, you lose this, you add this, and you actually end up with a slightly bigger playground than you have.
So it's
On the left.
It's 1,000 square feet more, that's all.
It's 1,000 square
Yeah.
feet more.
I know.
Okay. And that is with the offset.
That's what the offset.
The green,
Okay.
More trees.
the green area
Offset.
on the left
More
Yeah.
trees
was sidewalk, right? Or not?
and 1,000.
This,
Four
you're
feet.
talking about?
The left,
I'm
left
talking
there.
about here.
No, I don't think so. I think it might be the basketball court, or whatever. This is like the.
No.
No, basketball courts.
Okay,
Other
all
side.
right, can we see the second option in terms of the
That's the-
playground? So now, this one is more trees plus 1,000.
Offset with expanded footprint, offset. Yeah,
Yeah,
without
on the
the
left side, the
expanded
green
footprint.
one.
Okay.
Expanding
That's
to-
the-
So,
the small-
That's where those.
offset
offsets
less
are that
trees.
they-
No,
No, actually, there's a.
I'm looking for it.
Well, no,
Yeah.
so non-offset,
It's not offset.
Facing.
Okay,
that's what you just thought would
Yeah,
be,
facing.
That's.
okay.
if you
Because there's a little hill that goes down towards it.
move
My
the
daughter-
wall.
That's
you
not off.
lose a bunch of trees, the
Yeah.
playground would stay the same.
But right there, I think for some.
And getting bigger, and
We're
you
getting
add trees.
Okay.
Now, there is also some construction, I guess the construction issue works either way.
Yeah.
While this construction is going on, I believe they're gonna be bringing in equipment to where the playground currently is, so the playground will be closed. I mean, you wouldn't wanna be.
Yeah,
But it's equals to neither.
but, yeah, either way, the playground would have to be, short.
Okay. So just to clarify from just speaking in terms of the playground, offset means more trees plus 1,000 square feet more playground. Non-offset, playground stays the same and there are less trees. Is that
Same
correct?
size.
Yes.
right.
Okay.
And a lot less trees.
And they close, either way, the playground closes.
Either way, yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay,
And
that makes it a lot easier to understand.
yes, I mean, you are losing 3 feet for a long distance. However, it's not as if that 3 feet is going away. It still is park-ish, you know, it's vegetation.
Yeah.
And you'll reconfigure the playground to ensure there's still fun water fountains. and-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
No, I
gonna,
think
we're gonna
that's
keep the
fine.
water feature back, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Well, sorry,
Go
but
ahead,
you're
Eric.
taking away concrete, those dogs that shoot out the water,
Yeah,
that kids love.
I know.
My daughter loves.
Yeah.
There's two,
Elephants, things, yeah. Well, you're not losing all
it-
the elephants.
well, no, but they're there and they're gonna have to move.
I thought you just said we're gonna keep those water features.
Yeah, I mean, we could,
No, you keep the two that are separate from that wall, but those water features are on the wall, you're gonna have
They'll be rebuilt on the new wall.
That's what I'm doing.
to push them in. I don't know if they're
No,
gonna,
no, not into the, oh, I see, right, because it does come out of
it's
the
on the
wall.
wall.
Oh, yeah.
So the ones that come out of the wall, will
Would
those
they be there too,
rebuilt?
you think?
I
You're
could,
gonna have to, move if you're taking that away, you're gonna either have to push them or you're gonna have to get rid of them.
or just
Love
rebuild.
that.
Or move them some other place. I
Right.
can be
I would
pretty sure they're
prefer-
not gonna be on the flood wall.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, they might have,
kids, I'm just saying, kids love that.
They do
and
love
it's
that.
it's beautiful. I prefer to keep it, even if it requires just taking and pushing it and restoring it,
Yeah.
fine, but I don't wanna get rid of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
no,
That
that's
might
a
be
good
something
point,
to
go
try
ahead.
to figure out a way to.
You might end up losing that anyway, because it's very close there is where the wall is otherwise. being
That's what I mean,
built.
but you're also, I prefer not to. That would,
Yeah,
if you're
your
gonna,
code is to
if
try
you're
to.
gonna ask for something, I
Yeah.
prefer not to. Take it, push it in, that 700 feet, push it in, keep it. I prefer not to lose it.
Maybe put it someplace else in the, I mean, to have it.
I mean, yeah, you
someplace.
restore it and use it for something.
Right, if they exist in the reopened playground, you'd be okay.
Yeah, but I,
They would move.
that's, that water area, that lower water area of that park is
It,
not gonna
it
be
is
the
a really
same.
cool thing.
No,
yeah.
It's cool, and during the summer, kids are always
They
there.
love that thing. So it's, so that would be a thing to try to
Repurpose it, try to keep
Repurpose
it, I don't know what you wanna do.
My kid's 22.
In
he
either
still
of these
wants to-
options,
I still.
would that water feature stay?
no.
Well, if we-
Not if you take that wall, no.
Yeah,
because that's what it is.
I don't wanna speak out of school, I can take it back and confirm. My understanding is either way, the wall that exists now
Yeah.
is gonna have to change, whether we don't take away 700 feet and lose a lot more trees and rebuild in the same spot, still gonna have to change. Or we save the trees, offset the wall,
Yeah.
we still have to essentially reconstitute them. What I'm hearing, what I think is a really good point, and I don't wanna assume that it hasn't already been considered, but the kind of the affection for that feature, I think, is something we wanna make sure gets reflected in. And to
Yeah.
the extent that it can be reconstituted, whichever of the options is chosen, I wanna make sure it makes its way to the design team.
Yes.
So that's helpful.
Betty,
I don't have a dog, but if you set back the wall and have vegetation, I still mean plants. Where are the people walking their dogs going to go? Because along that whole street of River Terrace, the dogs pee all along that wall.
All on the.
Are they gonna just, Well, but near the sidewalk,
Be a wall there.
it's
There'll
gonna
be vegetation in front of it,
3 feet.
which
Yeah.
they could keep out of.
Well, I mean, I think that's,
You can't get
There's a
this.
whole
That's a big
curve there, dog.
right?
and it's an issue that's gonna be, have to be addressed throughout the redesign, because there's lots of new vegetation being proposed to be
Yeah.
planted that will be tempting to dogs, I can.
Yeah.
I have a solution, better dog.
The dogs will find a place to pee.
But I'm gonna tell you, people don't pay as much attention as I do to hardscape. It's the only place that I can go. And there are other people like me, and that's those walking their dogs at the time. It's those people who have strollers. It's those people who are jogging. It's those people who are driving a Battery Park City Authority truck. I mean, those are the people that I compete for space with. So
Yes.
I know who they are. And you can't just discount them all, and all of these changes need to be looked at through their eyes. So you're not shocked later and say,
Right.
oh, who would have thought that they'd let their dogs go up to the wall, through all the vegetation and get to the wall so they could.
Because the dogs will go in the
They will
vegetation
go.
and kill
Unless
us.
the owners restrain them.
But there's gonna be no place.
They have to go somewhere for to go.
It's supposed to go to the curve.
Okay, it's gonna be the same size.
It'll be the same, and
All right.
there's just gonna be more vegetation for people to.
So I think we're gonna move it along here now. So question for you, Nick, though, is I'm getting this, I don't know if Brittany wants to say it again, but I'm getting texts on it and I just don't know the answer. They're texting me and saying that the variance is no longer 15 feet, it's 5 feet from the wall. I don't know the answer, but
The
that'd be
engineers
something
would
that you're
have
willing
to-
to go back to your engineer to find out.
Oh, of course.
If it's only 5 feet.
It's now 5 feet, it's a lot of trees.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, I don't, that is something that if it's 5 feet, that's better than 15.
I can ask, I
Please take that
zero
back.
expertise in
I-
this area.
Hard to
Um,
imagine.
But I think it's certainly a fair question. If it's something that has changed, fairly recently, I certainly would want to
So,
know.
yeah,
And then we'll be back at EPC and.
and you can talk about that, but that would be something
If
to
it's
come back
something
to
that
and
is, that is
see.
a real thing.
Does she have a link for the
No.
regulation?
No.
I'm not sure why we're voting on this when so much has yet to be decided.
Because we have to decide at this point, it's the
Certain
40%. If we don't weigh in at certain points, we lose the right to weigh in. Nothing is finalized, but at each stage, you have to look, make a comment. They come back to us after they've heard our comments at this stage. They incorporate it into the design.
It just
and then we go
seems that
back
there
again.
is so much that no matter what we say, it's going to change.
Yeah, but
No
we'll
matter
have,
what
we'll
we
have
prefer.
multiple votes on what they come back and say. So we'll vote now and do it. and then come
Exactly,
back
then we do it again, test
For
it.
them to know.
It'll just
what
be-
is important.
Yeah.
Yes.
They also need to keep the work moving, so if we don't give them input now, then everything's gonna be paused, so.
Yeah.
Well, they'll just move without our input.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be clear, no one wants to do. As we move down the path, though, to Gabby's point, I just do want to make a point that the closer we get down the design path, as would be perhaps intuitive, the fewer things there is flexibility on because you're getting further down the design. So we are,
Right, certainly on the location of this wall.
where the actual flood intervention exists is a big decision that's going to be, finalized over the next couple of months as we continue to get the feedback from the community. We'll still continue to be back to you on things. I know we want to talk about benches, materiality, the plan things.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual flood barrier where it exists is a really big piece, and that's getting to the point where it's
This is
getting
the
close to where it's gonna be.
All right, so are we, it sounds as though the offset, the larger park, the larger playground is the one that most of us prefer.
Were we saying in this committee that at least the people in this committee, while,
Although I think we should include in there Betty's point on the infringement on the sidewalk.
Yes.
That should be minimized or eliminated. Maybe we don't need another 1,000 square feet of that. Because their changes actually add 1,000 square feet to the playground.
Maybe we just need space for the water park to be
Or
replaced.
we only need the 9,600 square feet. that we
period,
currently
right,
have.
exactly, I mean, if you're gonna redo it, but that would be something.
But no, I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think they need to be cognizant of the circulation, particularly of those that need the hardscape.
So that's the duck pond, that's what's there.
No,
No, here?
no,
What's there?
On the left of what we're looking
it's
at,
amazing how you forget where.
what is that? But what is it then? That.
The rendering doesn't show the colors.
No, I know, it's like, what?
Where's the water?
What is it?
That was,
To the left?
It's a
To
one,
the bottom is the street.
the duck pond.
That's gotta be the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To the left of that, but we see the edge of is the duck pond.
I think it's the duck pond.
I think it
It's a duck
I
pond.
think that's gotta be the,
It
it's
is
gotta be, because I'm thinking now of walking.
It is a duck pond.
It is.
So are we
And there's
voting on
a-
the
there's a
offset versus
ramp down
non-offset?
there.
I think so, and I think it's fair to say that
Get
there
there.
are, I think it's, I would feel uncomfortable not noting that, there are people who didn't totally agree with everything that were, that they don't like option A or B, they want option C, but if we only have choice between A and B, we choose,
Well, the FEMA regulations have changed, then we can.
then we come back again and then something else to talk about,
The
but.
benefit of having the additional time is,
Can I call the vote?
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
So, yeah, let's do it. So, everybody who was in favor of,
Well,
well, let's say it. What did we say?
Offset
So,
or not?
offset the wall or not, offset and save the trees, not offset and save 3 feet apart. So, for offset, save the trees, raise your hand.
That's with the bigger playground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Non-offset
And don't save the trees.
and don't save the trees.
So
Like,
we.
this isn't a resolution. The resolution will be in the environmental committee, but I need to convey to the environmental committee.
What we have.
I thought I wanted the non-offset, but
Exactly.
sorry, I saved the trees.
Save the trees.
Save the trees.
road new ones.
Save the playground.
3 feet of plants.
Okay, so what else do we have to talk about on this?
That's controversial. Let's see. That might be it, because in region 4, the Goldie Pond, you're keeping exactly the same, right?
That's right.
we heard folks loud and clear about.
Exactly the same. Thank you so much.
The only thing that I have to say about
Good
page
one.
4,
Yeah.
let's scroll through the slides on that up to. If you go to slide 58.
Let's see the number.
That,
Yeah.
okay. So, this is, this is the Arizona Memorial looking out over the duck pond, and the ferry terminal. And,
I'm going back and forth. Sorry, here we go. Proposed.
It's touchscreen.
so the duck pond is staying the same and the flood intervention is.
Behind it.
Behind it up here. It remains at this 16.5 feet, elevation. It looks taller than it actually is. Here it's 4.5 feet high, but here it's about 3.5 feet, high. So it's noticeable, but it's not 8 feet, high. Let's go to the next slide. Go back 1 second.
1.5
One
feet,
thing
right?
that I want you to notice is that this vegetation here,
It's pretty.
by the wall, it's intended to sort of hide the wall. Let's go to the next slide now. Now,
This is
sometimes
now.
I think they do this intentionally, have all these winter pictures. of-
Yeah, I know, right?
Terrible.
Yeah,
I do remember.
And then here we go. Oh, look how lush it is now.
But here's what I want to point
It
out
is lush.
here.
This or the other one?
No, this.
Yeah.
Is that there's a lot of vegetation here that appears at risk of blocking
Views.
water views.
Yeah.
Now, to some extent, this is hiding a wall that might otherwise block the view anyway. And one of the comments that I was suggested in making, which really goes throughout these reaches, is some high level of priority needs to be given
So
to
views.
preserving water
Views,
use.
yeah.
That doesn't mean as an absolute sense, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to be in a little glade here, and I can't really tell from this rendering to what extent is a water view being blocked gratuitously, or
yeah.
maybe it's hiding a wall, and it has to be blocked anyway.
Because when you look at it here, this looks lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, when you look at it here, it's like, oh my God, are we at the water? We could be in the middle of the city
Yeah.
or someplace. So that's the
That's
issue.
the only real comment that I.
Yeah, I was the same thing. We want to keep we want access. we
Not
want-
necessarily saying don't do this, I'm just saying that
Pick
there is
different
a
vegetation.
priority
Yeah.
views. Yep.
I got one question. Are the bollards going away?
No, they're coming back. I know they're not here, but no, they're gonna come back,
I
right?
didn't
Next,
see 'em.
all the bollards, all the safety,
Yeah.
Okay.
for the, yeah, no,
Yes,
we need
we'll have
those.
that.
Is that a place where they're gonna have the sliding gates
Yes.
Yeah.
across that large
I don't
opening?
remember if it's sliding, yes, this is, yeah.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, well, we'll be there. So you're gonna have to have the sliding gates, and then, okay, so it's now, this is still part of it's up the path, due south, this is what exists now. The ferry terminal here. And they're looking at this, once again. Hate the benches.
Those have backs on.
I don't care. They're ugly.
So it's a little hard for me to see exactly what's going on here.
And this
Over here,
this is the
because the
ferry,
wall is back over there.
yeah,
And so, once again, I just,
this seems
to the
very,
extent you don't need to eliminate, it's kind of nice to have a peekaboo. I mean, if you
Yeah,
go
the
into
diagram
South
makes
Cove, you're in
sense.
the little way up there,
it's
it's not,
pretty,
it's,
yeah, exactly.
but you can still see the
You
water
can see
through
the
there.
water.
Right, right,
Exactly.
right, right.
So I think that's gonna be a question of, like, planted burn, to me, this means that that's a, function for safety.
And it may very well be the way that.
Yeah, but you maybe you don't need the high trees there, I don't know, because that sounds like, it looks like,
Unless they're already there.
and that's the ferry terminal? Mhm.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
It's hard to tell, and you guys, yes, the biggest comment back is, please do better with the slide.
We could do a little bit.
It's hard to, oh, is it? This is what it looks like now.
That's the
And
serpentine
that
wall.
curvy wall is
Curvy.
gone.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's okay, this is where the kids climb and
I was
walk.
just gonna say, kids all
So
climb.
that's actually looking back north now, right?
Yeah, looking north still, so it's the same view. And slanted area, so once again, from this view, it looks less obstructed. But from the other view, it looks obstructed, so that's, I
And
don't,
and it may not be.
And it may not
Maybe just the rendering.
yeah, so part of it is that they're not necessarily paying attention to the water view. We want to see it, right? But that's the comment, anybody else?
Yeah, yeah.
This
Yeah.
is existing, okay, here's the walking way here. So going from,
Be more open,
Yeah,
wider.
wider.
which is nice, wider is good.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Wider is better, I know, yeah, and wider is better, just as it's a flow, we need for the very terminal getting busier and busier. And look at how nice those benches are,
Comfy looking.
how beautiful they are, Nick.
It's fair. It's fair benches.
Read my book. It's so nice. Sorry, okay, and then this is the talking about the pallets. Yeah, I was like, okay, I can't even pay attention, but I have to pay attention as Gwen told me. These are things we should be weighing in on, is how it's supposed to look with this. I think you need to come back to us. We like the World's Fair benches.
See that?
Yeah.
I think you need to come back to us with pavers as you get a better idea of what you're gonna be putting down. And who was saying it, Gabby, you were saying it, or somebody else was saying it, the idea of different pavers and different, you know, the hexagon, you didn't say that, no. 'cause
Somebody said it, he said-
Somebody said it with the,
Somebody said.
As
it
it
was
let the
safe.
designers be the designers.
and so the hex
But
pavers.
yeah, that's an ongoing conversation that we'll continue to
Well,
have,
the thing is that-
irrespective of the resiliency projects. About
Yes.
permeable pavers generally, as we try and reduce water runoff and
Exactly.
have it absorb back into the earth rather than run off, I think is a really nice sustainability thing.
Yeah,
And as we continue to kind of kick the tires on those pavers and what's gonna be installed, where we'll keep you updated.
And speaking of kicking tires, want to make sure it's smooth enough for people on
Yes,
yes,
mobility devices, right?
mobility devices.
Yeah, cobblestones might not be good.
no, yeah, don't.
That's why I wanna keep them nice and.
Yeah,
Here's
Nice and
now
flat.
Which is for the banks.
and then
You see
the wood clad planters, that's kind of a nice concept. I don't like the bar and stools. Okay, so the bar part is what you're getting me to work on.
Yeah, the bar.
Movable tables and chairs, yes, but bollards, yes, we need them back, but what do they look like? That's up to you, but we definitely want bollards. And this looks like, I can't look, you can see it there. At the end, the timber lounges, that's what, I think Michelle Ashton was talking about.
I don't think she was talking about that.
With the back.
Like they have on.
Those are big hits on
So,
on the piers.
Yeah.
People like.
interesting,
Yeah.
because they're kind of built in.
But there's not, but there's variety, that's what you're saying,
A bench for everyone.
a bench for everyone. My only thing is it doesn't fit with,
No, that has to
The
be where
nature.
there's nothing between you and the, water and.
If you see where it's used though, the larger pictures, if you go from left to right, that second one where the cursor is, it's sort of built in. So
Mhm.
it's kind of subtle, it's not standing out as something.
That's a
And
true.
if we have our other
That's
benches.
just a bench.
Most of the
this is just
places.
a bench and that's a fence, I think.
Exactly, it's holding up soil.
It's a wood clad planter wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that, yeah,
It's those
exactly.
two together. the
You know, but I
timber
like this timber lounger.
That's what they're using here on this one.
And that one down there.
And a bigger.
Okay, we had a bigger
See,
slide.
I wouldn't have, I wouldn't want it down by the water's edge, but up on an upper level tucked in, it doesn't
Do that.
disturb me.
Mm-hmm, that's, yeah, this is less offensive,
Yeah,
with a figure like
because
that.
it's all built, part of a built-in thing.
But this sounds like the wood clad planter wall, you need a wall.
But the
Yeah.
bar stools really bother me. They
I don't like
block
the bar.
people's access to standing over and taking pictures.
Well, there's still other places to get to the water
And
edge.
non,
I-
okay, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, non-permeable, we're out, that's fine. But permeable makes sense, and then we just have to figure out what design
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And in what we learned, last time you presented was that the permeable pavers can't go every place, but they can go many places.
That's right. Brian did that, I think it was last month, right?
Yeah. So. And that's the proposed paving. Okay, that's what the hex out, okay, that makes sense. Lot, okay. Here you go, there's your little picture, lounge seating and wood clad path. So lounge seating, but. Wood clad planters, I don't know, think of the bugs.
Look at how many more people can sit now.
Let's put one outside the-
Yeah, I agree, Janet.
400 chambers. We'll take them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and you can see where they're using the, non-seating here.
yeah.
Yeah, there, that might make sense so you could sit better.
See that?
I
makes sense.
think that
Yeah.
makes sense, but not blocking the waterfront.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, there you go. That looks like that, because that would be a way for people to sit and see.
Yeah.
And you actually might get people from the Mercantile Exchange coming and wanting to work there or eat there.
Yeah, I like that, but
All right,
not.
so you want,
Maybe people sitting there can get food delivered from the
From
new
the-
establishment coming out.
This is,
look at how compromising we are, Nick.
Yeah, but not.
Extra bar seating.
Bar seats.
Well, hold on a second, stop the presses. Which one did we say? Huh? Concrete? No concrete, concrete.
No concrete, no concrete, but the bar stools up here making.
Yeah, someone was saying, like, people like that, they're gonna work outdoors.
There were- And this might
But
make
not
sense
taking
here,
that
but
water
not in the
front
water
space.
view.
Yeah.
And,
That's
yeah,
fine,
so,
that's nice.
all right.
Well, stuff like that, I mean, exactly, stuff like that, certainly we wanna hear that there's, a mixture, and it could be a
And it
combination.
makes sense because the workplace is right back here too, and it makes sense that it's
That's
at the Mercantile Exchange.
300 VC, right?
Yeah,
that's-
probably,
that's-
yeah.
that's- Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like it'll be the thought behind that's a lunch spot for the workers to come out.
Could be, yeah. And then secondary landscape path, all right, again, with the bunches. Just, okay.
Yeah.
That's this last, oh, no, there. Yes, that's the end.
Yeah.
We did a good job, guys.
All right, so I think I have my comments.
I think we've got our comments, but we don't
We
have.
encourage everybody to attend who can.
Yeah,
What was the date again?
the 16th.
Tuesday, April, it's a Tuesday.
I have a question for Nick, unrelated.
yes, ma'am.
So I got an email today, they're closing, North End Street
Oh, yeah, oh, that's what I want to pull
for
up
two
next.
days for grain.
I got the same email,
Okay.
found
And
out when you.
Who sent that email?
they didn't say what it was for.
I found out as well, so I can address that. Tammy had actually sent it to me
Yes,
very
yeah.
helpfully
Yeah.
to Zach and me. But then I checked with our permit team, so I guess we can go into my report. It's not in there, but I can, since this is a nice segue.
It is a good segue. Yeah, let's pull up, and it's in your report?
So it's, no, it's not, but it's because I just, came in kind of late, but I think it's 325 North End Avenue, which is Tribeca Green. They are having, actually really nice. They're having some plantings installed on their rooftop. the things that they can't fit in the building through the elevator need to be picked and put up on top of the building
The crane.
with a crane. The crane company seems like it's not necessarily bad. They got a little ahead of themselves in terms of saying, oh, this is ready to go. And we said, well, it still needs to be permitted by the Park City Authority. We still need to understand what the impacts are. So we're working with them to understand what it would be, but it looks like it may be between the week of between August 15th and August 20th. I'm sorry, August. It says 19 April. Those dates are not set yet. That's tentative. It's roughly sometime in the window of April 15th to April 20th, that Monday through Saturday. It's not gonna be 5-6 days. It's 1 or 2 days within that stretch. The proposal is for them to be able to, close a portion of the street to use the crane, but they still have to go through the entire permit process. But it's not our work. It's for the building to install some plantings on the roof, which is nice because it's a sustainability thing. And these are things that are too big to fit into the building that way. They have to be picked.
Isn't it an awfully big crane then?
Yeah, isn't it the
It's big.
building though, ISPS?
No, it's,
Related.
Related, so next, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yes.
Is it near the library? Which building?
No, not in.
No.
For the Dwayne, for the
Door.
Walgreens.
That's all green.
Okay.
Oh, Dwayne Reed.
No, Dwayne Ross, Dwayne Reed.
Further up.
Asphalt green.
Yeah, between Murray and.
No, across from the asphalt.
North End.
And it's where the center has got plantings and other things going on. The dog run and stuff. It's where North End Avenue has that divider in the middle of the street.
So the door.
Is that where the crane is going, or is the crane going on Warren?
It looks like it's North End. No, it looks like it's North End
Oh,
Avenue.
North
It says
End.
North End Avenue between Murray and Warren. So, long story short is the company, while I kind of certainly salute their eagerness, want to make sure that everything is buttoned up and they get all the permits they need to,
Yeah.
including from us. But just put everyone's mind at ease, there's a regular permits that are needed for this, including like Department of Transportation and whatnot. So once it is finalized, if it is finalized, we'll either have the company get back to you and or I can send the community board a note saying, here's the update on the dates, of what to expect.
And there's.
As always, as always, we don't want to minimize, we want to minimize impact
There, so.
Yeah.
to the surrounding community and obviously with a special attention to the school, which is,
That makes
that's 89 to 89.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stuyvesant's
Stocks are locked away, yeah.
right, the school buses.
Cool,
are
and
gonna be-
make sure we talk to the,
Hallmark.
yeah.
Right, the seniors there.
Yeah.
They're not too
Their
far.
Transportation,
It'll be blocked for part of the day.
which could be,
Yeah, they would have to.
They should know
make
ahead
sure
of
that
time,
they
if they have any
understand
doctors.
doctor's
The impacts
appointments
are.
and all the, yeah.
And maybe there's a way to get them in and out, because they're not gonna be as flexible. The kids could walk with.
Well,
buses,
it's
but
still,
just-
the bus is all parked on Warren there.
Yeah.
The elderly shouldn't be an issue, right? Because they're between Warren and Chambers.
They're further north.
So they would be able to make a left onto Warren or right
So
to Warren. They would,
turn out of there.
right, so they're here, so they would.
Buses?
No,
Sorry,
No,
elderly.
for the seniors
Yeah.
at
Oh, Brookdale,
Brookdale.
well, no, but that street will be.
No, it won't. It's North End that's closing, not Murray or Warren. It's just North End.
The crane would go here, so they could still go that way. or
Yeah,
that way.
but then there's no that, I guess,
There'd be no southbound transportation on North End Avenue.
right.
For that block.
on the block.
Well, they would just have to go
They
around
could go around,
yeah, and
yeah.
then over. Yeah.
That's the question, where do they go?
Yeah, where do they, how much do we do
What's
that?
helpful is that.
They go on River Terrace, so you make a right down River
River
Terrace,
Terrace.
and just loop
In
around.
as much as DOT
They
is
just can't
as
be
well,
too
they're
wide.
transportation experts, they would be able
Yeah.
to
Directed to let
redirect
people
the
know.
traffic in an appropriate fashion.
The school buses might be a bigger issue because they park all along there. Warren.
They do when they, but yeah, they could, maybe we could figure out the timing of
But
it,
yeah, we'll let you know for sure when we have more.
information, but that makes sense. All right.
It was helpful though that Tammy had passed this
Yeah.
along, because we were chatting.
Yeah, I thought for sure it came from like you guys or something. It was,
I don't know where.
how'd they get our address? Or emails?
I don't know, I mean, I'm glad that they did.
I'm glad it-
They sent it to us. But it's also helpful to know, because then we're able to say like, let's understand what's happening here, and then they have to run through our permit process as well, so.
Yeah.
It
is weird they got our emails.
Right, the CB's emails out there,
Yeah.
This public.
the main community board address. All right, so with that, I can go into my report, Justine, if that's okay?
Yes, you can.
I
Let's
won't
move
go-
on to the next thing. I love it.
Belabor too much, but as always, I did put quite a amount of.
I know you always do. And then,
You're nothing if not thorough now.
Go to sleep in the back.
Pat's jumped the line a number of times on me. I think he'll give me a pass tonight.
All
Listen,
right, here we go.
and thank you.
No, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for hanging in. Oh, we get cut off again. Maybe.
All right.
There might be another cut off.
So, thank you, everyone. I will try to go through this in a, fairly productive fashion. The first thing I want to draw your attention to, I sent this to Zach as well. For those of you to whom it may apply, there's a free direct e-file tax tool. I know tax season is upon us. Many of us have probably already filed, but if you haven't, there's a link there at the bottom. It basically allows you to file your taxes at the state and federal level using one tool. So there's a link there on the New York State website. You have to fit to certain eligibility criteria, but the link is included there. And if you'd like to do that, I figured I'd put that up top, given that tax season is, 10 other days away from the deadline. Okay, next page. So it is Earth Month. Apparently it's Earth Week for most of the world, but here in Battery Park City, the entire month is Earth Month. We have a range of events coming up. You will see that beautiful ad up top in the pages of your fine local publication, the broadsheet, next week. But the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention, really cool, we're gonna have a solar eclipse viewing party. Everyone's talking about the solar eclipse. I know you see it. I drive on the thruway in the weekend and I see all the signs everywhere about the solar eclipse. So Rockefeller Park, 2:30 on Monday. We're gonna supplying a limited number of viewing glasses, but still, the advice is please do not look directly at the eclipse. Okay? I just want to say it just as a general. thing.
Yeah. Have to.
We have the rest of the events here.
You can get the
Right.
Like regular stuff?
That's good to know.
So we have a bunch of other events here, STEAM Dream, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics for the kids. We have our family birding event for Earth Week, Earth Day, Esther Pro Family Band, and Nature Walk coming up on the 25th. That's all detailed there and linked for you to explore at your leisure. Next page there, Zach, please, thank you. We have playoffs happening, just some events for the kids, kickball, soccer, and football on selected dates in April. And Poetry and El Parque, which is an event with the New Yorican Poetry Cafe by the Hurricane Memorial on the 18th. Sometimes in these reports, I find myself in the middle of a page, I kind of just fill space because I have my next item takes up a full page. So I took the opportunity to put a reminder that as the park lawns begin to open up this month, believe it or not already, please do not feed the wildlife, always a good reminder. Our trees and natural environment provide enough nourishment for the animals, they don't need to be fed by humans. Because that's just only gonna make them want more. So don't feed the animals. We did this, I spent a lot of time on this tonight, but I just have information here about the Northwest. So upcoming Tuesday, April 16th, you will see that there project updates on reaches 1 and 5. Reach 1 is North Moore Street and Route 9A, that's the stretch of the project that goes into Tribeca. And Reach 5, which is the North Cove Marina behind Brookfield Place. And then the next date, and again, this is tentative for now, but we're looking roughly at June 10th for the 60% design follow-up meeting. So we did the meeting in November where we did the post 30% design. And then since then, we've been back to the community board on 6 and 7, 2, 3, and 4, 1 and 5, including conversations tonight and conversations to come in June. And that date may end up sliding back a bit. So if it moves, it's only gonna move further to the right before the 4th of July, but perhaps after June 10th. But just start visualizing in your mind June as the next time we have a large public meeting that will incorporate a lot of the feedback that we're discussing now at the committee level. And then I just have links there to things in case you missed it. So the links and the video to the presentations we made on 2, 3, and 4 at EPC, at Reaches 6 and 7 right here, back in January. And all the links to the November meeting, the presentation, the video, the virtual topic table that we did afterwards for people who weren't able to make it in person, the fly-through animations, and the actual transcript. If you want to just actually read to your heart's content about the transcript, I linked all that there. That's also available on our site, but it's all linked there for you. More about the project and then your community construction, your address for questions. Yes, ma'am.
The geotechnical sampling work,
Yes, you can click on that.
is that related to those trucks, the tanks and these gigantic
Yes, if you
hoses?
actually click on that, that should be a live link there.
Says community.
There are enclosures you will see. And what that basically is they have to do some boring to get subsurface conditions, they have to test the
Do they
soil.
Kowski Plaza.
There's some on Kowski Plaza, right?
Then they were down below and they were there today.
They're there. Yeah, they're there to kind of test the sampling and do the work. We try to make it, intrusive, but you can see the enclosures, and that's what that is for.
And they start at 7 in the morning?
They start at whatever the citywide hours are. I think it's 7, but if there's a particular instance where it's especially noisy or disturbing, let me know. It shouldn't be that
I haven't
impactful, but it is.
harassed you, but when they did the drilling in Kowski at 7 in the morning and it was that high pitched noise, I was up for hours and hours.
this recently or not?
hours
Mm.
When they were drilling in Kowski.
So yeah, like in
Horrible.
February, I know you were complaining.
I think that's.
Just
Oh,
horrible.
that may be the Port Authority work.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is, tell me.
Yeah, tell me, and we can get it into my folks.
They started at 7.
Yeah, citywide construction, that was due to start at
We'll
7,
figure out
but
what it is.
I can get it to the right place, and if it's us, I can at
That's
least
too
see.
late. I just,
Did they stop now at least to finish maybe?
it's hard to tell, but I don't hear that high pitched noise. It's
See that?
7 in the morning anyway.
Problem
So
solved.
should we
Problem
do
solved,
this?
yeah, you're gonna do anything.
Yeah, in separate lines.
They-
Geosampling.
Yes.
Also doing it, down south, like, cause I noticed two big
Yes,
areas
there's
blocked
a
off.
couple of,
Yeah.
the one by the.
Like, where Miramar used to be, now the
Right.
hot pot. right off there.
We've tried to actually push it further down now, so yeah, you'll see that, you'll see.
They
that.
had to do it all along.
They have to do it up and down the Esplanade,
Mhm.
right,
To
but they
do-
try to close the equipment, so obviously it's
Yeah, it's
fenced
enclosed.
off, it's safe off.
Is that related to the resiliency or just something they?
No, which was to the northwest, we have to make sure that we're testing the soil and the supports, so that we can have the conditions necessary to support the flood wall.
And here,
Your technical borings. Yes, and then if you go to the next page, the south, we have a full page devoted to that as well. We have the wedge verification, which we talked about. We have the travel advisory, which is new. Again, that's overnight lane closures, but I just want to make sure that's linked.
that's done.
Yeah, that started in March. That's gonna be through the summer, but that's, just one lane along Battery Place overnight.
And they're not like doing solid or stuff like that, are they?
No, it is, it's work, it's just work in the street bed. I don't think
Okay.
I don't know that it's,
Noisy?
I just wanna make sure people are aware that that's happening. And it is aimed at impacting fewer people because it's overnight and it's one lane, so it's not like traffic is stopped. It just means they'll hold traffic in one direction, let the cars through, and then,
You know, I don't know if it's noisy, but I don't know.
I haven't gotten the complaints yet, and it's about a week or 10 days into it. Okay, next page is, public art and video. We discussed including, by the way, Teardrop Park. So if you're interested in the history of Teardrop Park, we have the two artists who did that as well.
Oh, nice.
The scam alert I keep up every month, please do not hand anyone your phone.
Yeah.
Don't hand anyone your phone. Okay?
What about our wallets?
No, it's like, it's like getting some in your wallet, so don't be. Pet-free parks, we talked about this every time, please don't let your dogs on the lawns. And the homeless assistance we've had up there, we're gonna keep in that report each day. All right, next page,
I
that,
have
thank
a
you.
question about that
Go
particular
ahead.
park anyway.
Yes.
It's a little out there crazy, but you know, oftentimes it's covered in geese
Yes,
and
Geese are allowed.
yeah,
Well,
is there any issues with all the geese poop and the kids and the feathers?
you know, every now and again, I'll get an email about geese. I haven't cracked the code on how to solve for geese.
Yeah, I was gonna say shoes.
Yeah. Their migration pattern, while kind of like intense while it happens, I don't think is that long.
Yeah.
As a parent, I think about this, and what I would tell myself, absent a global solution, is just, don't play with poop on the lawn and make sure.
Yeah.
you wash your hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's all,
it's all small, but no, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. You know,
Most of the time, I think,
bird flu fears going on.
thankfully, is a lot of it now, the migration season, at least when they're migrating back down, the fences are, some of the lawns are fenced off. Rockefeller Park is agreeable to keep it open. But it is noted, and it's tough to have a general, so even in Central Park, you see, I mean, there's just.
No.
Yeah.
He said,
Canadian.
Canadian geese, they migrate west.
Blame Canada.
They Canada.
Question for you is who knows this? What happened to all the ducks? There's only two now.
Oh, I see ducks.
Jeff got
Well,
one.
that's the whole field question.
I said, what happened to the ducks?
All right, so we take a point each month to just update you on what's going on in our parks from an operational perspective. Ryan was here last month, so I won't go through each, but I'll highlight a couple. You'll see great rates. I'm no Matt Fenton when it comes to the plays on words, but I try. Some of the grates in West Thames Park are actually being pulled up and replaced so we can clear out some of the underlying sand and replace it with more of a kind of a compost and a nutrient-rich kind of permeable material. Plantings are coming in. Composting, we're continuing obviously in the new expanded North End Avenue nursery area. You can go to the next page. Okay, the lawns are going to open the week of April 15th on schedule. So we always usually open them up mid-April. That's gonna be the case here. So on a rolling basis starting right after that. Volleyballs, I've already been in touch with Harry and Hari. They emailed me. Look for the first games to start perhaps that weekend of the 19th, 20th, but we're gonna try and get the volleyball court down that week as well. The 26th is Arbor Day, so we're gonna have the tags on the trees that we did last year that will identify the species of the tree, the age, and we'll have a QR code that will have some additional information on it, on the trees as well, so that's very nice to do. There is some broken and damaged pavers on the north entrance passageway to the ferry terminal that are being replaced, so even down to making sure we're replacing those pavers. You'll see that happening over the next couple of weeks. Composting ongoing as always, and repairing some of the water lines next to the Robert R. Douglas Bridge. It's the West End Bridge. It's, I try to use the proper name, but it's the West End Bridge. Compost bins are there as well. And for those who are interested, during Earth Week, we're gonna have some tables set up along the Esplanade with our dog waste composting team. That's April 23rd to 25th in the morning and in the afternoon. So anything you ever wanna know about dog waste composting,
It's
be there. And it's-
What a
It really is wonderful. You see the clipping there, we're able to get about 1,000 pounds of tonnage from the dog show.
all the details. Yeah, that's nice.
So those are the parks highlights for the month, the operational highlights at least. And then next page, we're almost getting to the end here.
Yeah.
Highlights from the month, we had our Iris, our Keepsakes Island event, New York Laughs. And Naturalists, Lost and Found contact information, our board meeting schedule. And our First Precinct Community Council, which as you know, is often the last Thursday of the month. This month will be Thursday, April.
So can I get more information on your community council?
Yes, the First Precinct Community Council
Oh, right, okay.
is, the First Precinct holds it every month at the First Precinct Station,
Oh,
16 Erickson Street. Some folks on the community board actually serve on that as well.
Yeah, okay, I'll get it.
Yeah, and it's just a general,
Get the report.
That's
It's
true,
on the
yeah.
website.
they're great, they're great.
On the
Although I've heard some stuff from neighbors since the new commander,
Yeah,
that they feel like there's not enough engagement.
Oh,
You
really?
just have to talk to him more.
Yeah, go. Yeah,
He
he's
seems
very
like a nice
approachable.
guy.
And a lot of it, a lot of it is, and Pat can attest to this, there's also a lot of, and it's recurring. It's Holland Tunnel traffic. It's counterfeit goods on Canal Street, homelessness.
Cause you go to the meetings, right, you guys?
I tune in when I can. Pat religiously goes to everyone. We are, blessedly, Battery Park City, usually not something that is a real hotspot. I mean,
Yeah.
because there are things around, it doesn't mean it's unimportant though. So if there are concerns you have about the community, always bring them to us as well, but go to the First Precinct Community Council. Next page, I think we're almost at the end, is, okay, our neighborhood officers and then our upcoming events. Including, I wanted to draw your attention, the New York Knicks and New York Rangers are both headed to the playoffs, as we may know. So on,
Having a palooza, oh, wow.
And they're playing each
a
other.
playoff palooza, they're gonna be, on.
April 20th.
April 20th, so that's a Saturday, it's gonna be like a, kind of a day-long fair with some VIPs, alumnus from the organization.
Here in Battery Park?
Yeah, right behind, on the Lower Plaza de Esplanade, around the marina. So that should be fun, and then obviously we're tracking the 9/11 Memorial Walk and Run. That's on the 28th, which I know they came to
They did,
transportation.
they went to
Committee about.
transportation, yeah.
And I think that's it. And then with that, I'll turn it over to Pat. On the last
Pat, there
page.
you
and go
go.
through those
That
numbers.
was a beautiful presentation.
Thank you. I put a lot of time into
I
it.
could
I wanted to look a certain way and feel a certain way.
It's gorgeous.
And I'm glad that I really wanted to be informative, so thank you for the time. and
That was
attention.
perfect. Yeah, no, we got, so we're good.
All right,
Turn off, yeah.
go ahead, Pat, take us home.
Okay, so as you can see on the spread out for the month of March, we only had 4 graffiti reports, basically, compared to last year, which was 6. This was dealing with graffiti on the park bench, up in the ball field on the terrace, okay, and one of the park signs. Homeless, we're dealing more encounters with the homeless. This month we had 7 compared to last year with 3. A lot of the homeless that we're interacting with are sleeping on the park benches around the park. We do offer them services, ask them if they want it. So far, no. Okay, we're also dealing with the homeless with the increase in the scaffolding going around, especially with the bad weather that we had with the
Yeah.
rain and that. Looking to set up under the scaffolding. Lost and found property, we had 4 reports this month compared to 3 last year. Park rules, we had 3 reports this month compared to last year being 6. Basically, on the park rules, we were dealing with kids going into the ball field after it's closed. And we also had in the West Things playground, person was in the playground who didn't have a child actually there. It was brought to the attention of the SBO, and he spoke to the woman, and the woman left.
Okay.
Okay?
Had she been there before? You don't know?
We don't know. It was the first time that we're aware of. We have had in the northern Rockefeller Park where people were sitting and with a laptop trying to videotape.
Oh,
That-
wow, so
that
they
was-
leave that and stop it. Wow. In
That
the
was-
playground.
Right, that was a while ago, and in dealing with that, we had called the police at that time, and obviously it was a child custody type of thing.
Oh,
Okay,
I mean, not great, but
Right.
okay.
okay, so, there was, they have to be so far apart. Individual. Like I said, that was in the past, that actually happened like approximately 4 years ago.
Oh,
So,
okay, that's.
Okay, it's nothing recent. All right, vendors, obviously it's too early. The season start with the vendors out there, so, they're at 0. And the dogs, the dog reports this, month was 7 compared to last year, which was 4. Basically dealing with the dogs up in Rockefeller Park.
No.
Okay.
It's
know.
not worth it. I know it.
Not those dogs.
But it's, you only can report, you only can react to what people report. So that's-
Right,
I'm gonna start
the other
recording.
thing I wanted to bring up is that, we've, changed the subcontractor. It's no longer Overwatch. They're gonna be using, Explorer Security Services. So you'll see them walking around with the new jacket, with their jackets and the new patches on.
Wait a minute.
Well, that's
Who's gonna
I
be?
think actually.
Yeah, and so.
the ambassador.
Wow. The ambassador, not the ambassadors?
The ambassadors, you're gonna see, about half of them are the same. The company also had to hire new people to bring them in, okay, to bring it up to the staffing level. But Allied Universal Corporate made a decision that, unknown to me, it's not at my level, okay, to change from Overwatch and to use another company. And the company's Explorer Security
Are they
Services.
still MV?
Yes, yes, they are. Yes, they are. They have other government contracts.
Okay.
They're state certified. So
That's good.
all of that's there.
And I will say that, just a comment that I have seen ambassadors. I've been walking the dogs and I've seen them around more.
Yeah, I've seen
Okay.
Much more visible.
What are-
So Whatever you're doing, it's good to have them.
Yeah,
much
the
more
security
visible.
guys.
Just have to do with a whole new bunch.
They
Not
just
the
don't-
dog
I mean, they've
jackets.
been much more visible. I mean, there. You can, I see them on the Esplanade, I see them, whereas before, there have been times before where I would echo the comments of some other people in the community where it's like, I can walk for an hour and not see
They
anybody.
were yellow?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Right.
they're visible and thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I
I got a
have a
comment.
quick question for Pat.
Sure.
So, talking about dogs, in the dog run, one of the new neighbors to Battery Park, her dog got bit by another dog, and then this woman threatened her, and then made comments to her like, oh, do you even live, things that were really bad. She reported it to Gateway Management. I said she should report it to you guys. Am I wrong?
Oh, I think I got this one.
Uh,
I
She
get
calls
it?
me.
Oh,
Yeah, she's the sweetest.
I responded.
It's very, it was a little bit of a biased remark this woman made.
What I generally say to folks is, Pat will correct me if I get it wrong. We try to keep the kind of the discussions, arguments between dog owners, the dog owners. I don't want to wade in the middle of it.
Yeah.
However,
This
if
was,
you're ever in a situation where you feel as though you are unsafe or someone else is feeling unsafe,
Yeah.
you can always call the ambassadors, but just call 911.
Jump at the
In this particular case, she said she felt as though she was accosted and she was asking for, like, is there a camera footage around? And generally what we say there is, I'm sorry to hear about the experience, file a police report.
Yeah.
Because if the police are gonna open an investigation, then we can get access to
Yeah.
the footage.
this woman threatened to attack her.
But I responded to her and
Yeah.
told her she should respond, she should file a police report if she wants to.
Wow.
But thank you for directing her my way. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
Lee. I remember that email from earlier this week. It was in the Kowski
Yeah,
playground.
this
Okay,
lovely
yeah,
young
dog.
woman with the cutest, like, bulldog you've ever.
Did she get bit or her dog?
Her dog got bit, but then the woman, who was a dog walker, said, would threaten to attack her, and then made statements that were kind of biased
So she
against her.
didn't live there, she was a hired dog walker?
Right, the one with the bad dog.
No one the bad dog.
Oh,
There is no. such
The
thing as
fighting
bad
dog.
dogs.
The fighting
It's a
dog,
bad
yeah.
dog.
There are bad.
All right, so wait, so Zach, you have a question?
You have that, Mike.
Yeah,
Bad dog walkers.
Please listen to Zach.
Yeah, we had a question to the office. You had, in the past, in, I think, spring, summer, you brought in more, security as like a surge. Are you doing that again? And if so, when will that be? And roughly how many?
Oh, the red one.
well, the way it works, okay, we're at what I would call minimum manning right now. And as it gets closer to when the schools let out, the end of the school term, that's where, we increase it. But as a general rule, I don't give out the numbers, okay?
But you're gonna up, you always have
Yeah,
your summer third.
we always up it during the summer.
More people about, more people.
That's
Right.
So, what is that, June?
Well, school's out at the end
Uh,
of June.
Right, I'm usually hiring, again, at the start of June, okay, so that I have everybody on board, the numbers up by the time that happens. Okay, because obviously, as it gets closer towards the end of the school year, test time and all of that stuff, there's more kids, there's always more kids around, and we also have more tourists around.
Can I make a suggestion to that?
Sure.
Once, the weather's not warm yet, but I would almost ask that you kind of ramp it up. Maybe May 1st, because kids are around now. On nice days, you've got kids, I know that's after school, but they're just all over. And, it's just, there are a lot more people. As the weather gets nice, it gets crowded. So again, you do what you do, but I would suggest a little bit earlier and maybe a little bit later, depending on the weather.
I'll touch base with the authority
See what
because
they say.
everything works on the budget. that I'm
Got it.
given.
Got it.
Okay.
That's something to think about.
The other thing I wanted to say, I was on the meeting with Downtown Alliance this month, with Ed and the Department of Homeless Services. I let him know what's going on up around the Tribeca Bridge. They were dealing with a homeless person up there. So, DHS, they're gonna have their patrols, swing by and check on the individuals that are hanging out up there.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and the First Precinct Community Council monthly meeting, I was at that. They're saying get ready for the summer with protests,
Oh, sure.
okay? I could tell you the 5th, there's supposed to be a protest, starting
That's
down
tomorrow.
in Bowling Green.
Oh, tomorrow.
No, April 5th, yeah,
April, yeah.
Tomorrow.
yeah,
More afternoon, I think, right? It's
right at Bowling Green. So,
But they're so far been contained, but you never know what's gonna explode,
well,
right?
there's another one supposedly coming April 15th, which, they're calling it like a worldwide protest where they're looking to affect the economy.
Oh, boy.
So, that means that they're gonna be protesting, right, probably on Wall Street or whatever. Hopefully it doesn't affect too much of our area, but they've
Thank you
been
for
known
being-
to show up at 200 Liberty.
They're
So,
bound to, how about all that?
you know,
Thank
Well,
you for being on top of that and watching for it. I mean, I am fully supportive of people's right to protest and be heard.
What's 200?
That's.
That's our, that's our.
But yeah.
It's
it's
just-
nice to know-
it's tower.
And at least to know that there are people watching to make sure that people can get in ingress and egress, especially around school time and the kids. So thank you for that, but yeah, I fully support protesting. If people want to protest, they've got the right to voice their opinion.
Sure.
Question for you, Nick. I meant to call you, text you, and I just didn't have time. I noticed because my niece was visiting and I actually had a child or two in the park with me. But, the gates don't lock.
Which one?
West Thames Park,
They've never left.
they used to,
They,
but they have not in a long time. They won't stay closed.
Did I stay close?
When my kids were little, they locked. They don't stay closed, so they need to have someone come by, and that's kind of important. So I don't know,
both of them.
both of them, don't, okay. I saw the one that was on, closer to your office,
Mhm.
and it was just open.
You're talking about the dog run or the playground?
It's
like,
playground.
it's like,
Playground. Okay.
Playground, which is dangerous, because
I'll
there's
send
kids
it,
in
I'll get
there.
it to Ryan tomorrow.
Yeah.
I will take this opportunity to note as well, I know Gabby mentioned it before, not to belabor it. Under no circumstance should a bench be broken for years. So
No, so
send
yeah.
it to
Gotta
me,
tell you.
where it is, I will get it fixed.
Okay,
We're
I'll
literally,
Tell you, when I-
Go walk by.
we're literally doing the slats and the base of the concrete benches, like power washing them, replacing the slats. painting it.
fixing it up.
So if it's our bench, we'll get it fixed. If it's not our bench, we can get it to the right place.
No, that makes sense.
But your benches are right in front of Stuyvesant School, right?
And it's on the Esplanade side or
Yeah.
the street side? It should be ours, right, but yeah, absolutely, it should not be damaged for that long. So we can get it fixed for you.
It's probably those kids.
Maybe somebody fix them down and then send it to me. We'll get this.
All right.
That and the gate, I got you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming to a close.
Thank
Thank you, everybody. Is there soda?
Sarah, that was delicious.
Yeah. Oh, she's.